Prayer.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your own glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I want to welcome you to today's sitting. I know it was not easy for you to come over, but I want to thank you for being committed to your work and for this country and discharging your responsibilities as members of parliament, as the voice of the voiceless. On Tuesday, 16th November 2021, 2 bomb explosions happened. One just right in front of us here, that's Jubilee Insurance, and then the other was around CPS. And a number of deaths were registered, and other people were hurt, and they are still in hospital. I want to urge the public, the members of parliament, that please let's cooperate with the security forces to ensure that we bring these people to book, to ensure that we provide security with information in case we get any information in regard to these people, because there are people living within us. So let's make sure that we work together with the security, and our condolence to those families as parliament. We keep praying for those who are still not well. And can we observe a moment of silence for those who lost their lives?
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Members, our security as people of Uganda and as a nation should be our priority. No act of these cowards should deter us from doing whatever we are doing. Let's get united. It's not anything political. Let's work as Ugandans. A death on one person affects Uganda as a country. Let's put politics aside and protect our citizens. I have got a communication from the First Lady, the Minister of Education. She's requesting to have a meeting with the members of Parliament on Wednesday next week. And the meeting is going to discuss issues of opening schools, preparation for opening schools. So you'll be expected to have a COVID test on Monday as you prepare for the meeting on Wednesday at 10 in Kololo, for you to give guidance to the ministry, since you are the leaders who are on the ground, the minister needs to get information on how the schools can be opened. Once more, I want to thank you for coming. I know everybody is scared, but we'll make sure that we restrict our time of sitting. By 6, we are out of this place. We want everybody to be safe. We want people at home early. Members, I'm saying at least by 6. At least. We also need to legislate for our members. I wish you a nice deliberation for today. Yes. Honorable
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to respond to your communication. In your communication, you said that security should be our priority as Parliament. And indeed, I agree with you. And I feel that along the parliamentary avenue, all the people, all the owners of the buildings on that lane or avenue should be security conscious. My office is not far from Raja building, and in the last parliament I was on that building. But what I've noted, that there seems to be no enough security there. You see people moving in and out. The front of the building is always overcrowded with the people selling airtime, borders, all the time it's like a stage. So I feel that we are not very secure, and because of that, maybe the officers or the ministry concerned should make a follow-up, because I'm not certain. I see if there are 2 banks there, but I see a lot of movement as I move to Parliament from my office. I've seen a lot of people moving up and down. I don't know where they have some security standards, where they even record the people who are entering or checking. So it's important that we follow up so that we feel we are safe. Otherwise, I thank the system that has been put in place for today. We had a lot of space around, and these hawkers we are not around today. So I commend the government for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You had given me the opportunity.
Commissioner, you wait after.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and my condolences to...
And Minister Internal Affairs, take note of what members are raising, but I also don't want us to take so long in this matter. This is a security matter. These people are still being looked for. Let's not debate about it.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, and my condolences to Ugandans who lost their lives during these bomb attacks. Maybe, Madam Speaker, if you will allow the minister responsible for security, we may not have to dwell on it if he has given us the information. But I am raising on a second point, Madam Speaker. Under our rules, Rule 52, the minister may make a statement at the appropriate time with the prior permission of the Speaker, whether for the purpose of explaining government policy or action on any matter. Madam Speaker, you have said one of the ministers has summoned Parliament to Kololo. I fear, because if we allow ministers to begin summoning Parliament, There is nothing that will stop Honorable Taiwo, the chief government chief whip, summoning us to his home. This institution of parliament, Madam Speaker, and I want to beg you to tell that minister, under this rule, she has a duty to come here and make a statement on any matter in her office. But to begin summoning us to Kororo to give orders, we must take COVID tests. I don't know whether she's summoning us as a first lady, because first lady means the wife of the president. So I want to seek clarification from you, Madam Speaker, under which rule is this minister summoning MPs to Kororo? Because the rule requires every single minister, because the Prime Minister comes here and explains. I have not seen the Prime Minister summoning MPs to the office. Then how can a person under the Prime Minister summon us, Madam Speaker?
I actually get amused when I see you clapping your hands, because you are the same people who have been complaining about the opening of schools. And I did not say she's summoning, I said she's requesting. Because we don't have space here that can take 500 people, choose whether you go or not. We don't have a space here that takes 500 people. I am still on the floor, sir. Members, I gave you a communication that the Honorable Minister, Janet Kataha, and the First Lady is requesting on Wednesday that go and we have a discussion on how to open schools. What do we need to do? And what do we do? I am passing a message, not subject to a debate. I am passing a message. Leader of opposition, you had something to say?
Right, Honourable Speaker, thank you for your indulgence. It is as well good that on the order paper we have a matter relating to the subject of security in the country.
Yes.
So I'll offer my official message when that matter comes up. But allow me to express my condolences to the families from the onset. I'm raising to respond to your communications, particularly on issue 2. It's as well good that you are passing on an advisory to which members have the right of rejection or acceptance. As Speaker, you are the custodian of the sanctity of this House of Parliament, and that sanctity is housed in the rules to which you are custodian. There's a whole lying danger in allowing the business of Parliament to be conducted informally. That informality endangers the manner in which we can hold people accountable. On this side, we have demanded for space to explain our concerns about education, and it's been free-flopping and did not come through as we had wanted. Now that the First Lady and the Minister of Education is ready to make that statement before members of Parliament, the space where members of Parliament are best housed to speak without fear of contradiction and with protection is the House of Parliament. Unless the Speaker is going to go to that place and declare that place as Parliament, to which the rules obtain and privileges, I would like to invite the candor of the Speaker to advise the Minister to consider making that statement here on the floor, that members can debate it and input and even advise. Otherwise, there is a whole lying danger in conducting that business with the desired informality.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I thank the Leader of Opposition for yielding the floor. The information I wanted to provide to the House is that it is not uncommon for ministers to organize workshops and invite members of Parliament to discuss matters of importance. And it won't be the first time for a minister such as Minister of Education and Sports to invite us to go and discuss an important matter like opening of schools. So I therefore find it strange that you feel uncomfortable, and it will not be a parliamentary sitting. From my understanding, it is a workshop organized by the Ministry of Education for us to make contribution to the plans open the schools.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I heard that information you have given, and that's what I wanted to deliver.
Honourable Leader of Opposition.
No, let me conclude, Right Honourable Speaker.
Can you conclude?
Yes, by saying that the Speaker has the duty to protect this House. If the Minister wants to meet the Committee of Education, it is appropriate. That will be a workshop over the Committee of Education, but not the House of Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker. I so pray.
Leader of Government Business has something to say.
Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of education concerns the whole country. And therefore, you are aware that we agreed in the House we should have a sitting of some members of Parliament. And therefore, Madam Speaker, it is necessary that all of us, and of course you are aware that Parliament cannot accommodate all of us. And going to Kororo will mean that all of us will be accommodated.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker, we come here every day to transact business.
The
Business of Uganda. The Prime Minister makes a statement here speaking to Uganda. Does she now want to suggest that these meetings of Parliament that sit here, where some of our colleagues, because of what we all know, don't participate, do not represent Uganda, and therefore they are not considered as sittings of Parliament, that they must create one sitting where everybody must come for the president, for the wife of the president, and all of us who come here every day to transact business, this is not a sitting of Parliament. And therefore a sitting of Parliament must be in Kororo, where we take COVID tests.
Honourable Semuju, when I was announcing, I didn't mention a wife of a president. Why do you like mentioning somebody's wife? All the time you're mentioning somebody's wife.
Procedure,
Commissioner.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want first of all stand with the people who lost their lives on Tuesday, and also to thank you for the actions you took that day. We were supposed to have a sitting, you called off the sitting, and then several things that you did as the Parliamentary Commission. However, Right Honourable Speaker, what is very important and that I wanted to note, that day I was that day, don't intimidate me. That day I was around the area, Right Honourable Speaker, where I was almost outside the gate, inside Parliament, when the bomb blast took place. Right Honourable Speaker, there are young ladies who work around that street, young people who work around that street. Right Honourable Speaker, as I talk now, both the other side and here, the properties of these people were destroyed, and destroyed completely. Right Honourable Speaker, some of these people live hand to mouth. Those who did not die, I implore government to compensate these people who lost their properties. They are special hire people, Right Honourable Speaker, who have only that car. Some of the cars are not even for themselves, but for their bosses. Right Honourable Speaker, the cars got burnt. Everything was destroyed. I implore the minister and government to come up, let's compensate these people so that they can continue earning a living amidst the challenge that happened, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, that is what I wanted to raise, and I implore our members to really look into this and support this, because it is something that is really very important. These are Ugandans, these are our people. They got this by accident, no one intended this, and they really deserve to continue earning a living as Ugandans. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much. Members, we'll expect to hear that from the minister when he's giving the statement on security. One thing I want to make members know, that the invitation that is being extended to us, or interaction between legislature and executive, is a good interaction. And the invitation is in good faith. And the place where they have invited us is an open place, because the matters of education are public matters. So, I mean, I don't see any problem there. But if you feel you're not comfortable, that's a public place. If you feel you're not comfortable, but we are discussing matters that concern the country in regard to education, I want you people to take it in good faith. And I know you don't agree. And let's go and share the information of what the Ministry of Education has and what we think we should do. Then we'll come back in the afternoon and debate on what you shared there. We can even disagree from there.
I agree, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now that you've switched on the microphone before you asked.
I thank you, Right Honorable
You first
Speaker.
sit.
Thank you very much.
You first sit, Daddy.
Oh.
Okay, you can raise your issue.
Grateful, and your Right Honorable Speaker, that is the beauty of discipline, that when you tell me to sit, I take my seat. I want to thank you for your guidance. First and foremost, on behalf of the people of Uganda, we are the rightful consumers of the information that every ministry provides. To that extent, I support 100% the idea of interacting with the ministries. My plea with the minister is to be humble. And being humble in this case would mean doing things neatly. And neatly in this case would mean to recognize that this parliament supervises her and not the reverse. In which case, had I been her advisor, I would simply request the Speaker of Parliament to convene a meeting, and that meeting would be a meeting of Parliament. The word request to me is humility. And by the way, I do not see her more as a minister. I see her more as a mother. At least that is me. Don't play around with somebody who has cooked for the president for 40 years. To me, that is dignifying enough. The other time, I think about 3 years ago, they celebrated 40 years. And to me, that's not a mean achievement. Of course, it is unfortunate that we have a president who can appoint his wife a minister. But now that she's a minister, with our approval, my view, Right Honorable Speaker, is that let her go through you convene it as a meeting of Parliament. Because you can declare Kololo as precincts of Parliament. To me, it is neater. I will take her information because she's senior to me.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank my son for giving way, Honorable Medadi Segona. Right Honorable Speaker, the information I want to give the House is that because of the various assurances that were made in this plenary, we sought to meet the Minister of Education so that we could satisfy ourselves and Parliament for that matter on what is being done in relation to pledges, promises made under the Ministry of Education. We wrote her a letter on the 4th of that month. She wrote back and said, I will have meetings up to 15th of this month. So I request you to extend my meeting with you to the 23rd. Madam Speaker, we waited. That was almost a month ahead. We waited patiently. On the promised day, she came in with another excuse that let's have now this meeting using Zoom. We sat in the conference hall, had a technician is ready to relay the meeting. But Madam Speaker, finally, the First Lady did not even utilize the opportunity of Zoom, and she instead sent her state ministers.
Madam
When we raised the question, Madam Speaker, when we raised the issues with the state ministers, they told us that they would go back and first talk to the senior minister. Finally, they have now written back to us a letter signed by an assistant commissioner in the Ministry of Education. So the information I want to give you is that it is not easy to get to meet this minister for education. There is absolutely no space created for the minister. Most of the time, the Minister for Education prefers to work as the First Lady.
Thank you for that information.
Madam, just a minute. First of all, I want to bring this to your knowledge. We have 3 ministers in education. 4. One of them is right here, and I can see him itching to say a word. Then secondly, I felt offended. My senior, Honorable Segona, when you said the woman has been a cook for the president for 40 years. Did you say that?
Absolutely
because I am
not.
also a woman. Tomorrow you're
Absolutely
going to
not.
Tomorrow you're going to refer me that speaker is a cook for some man.
No, right, Honorable Speaker, I am the last person to say such. Just in case it was decontextualized, I meant that she has been married to the president.
No, you said she has
Among
been
the
cooking.
Baganda, they call it kufumbirwa, and that's my understanding. But if the understanding is that she was understood to be a cook, I withdraw the understanding.
He has withdrawn the understanding.
Thank you.
I think my young brother should take his seat. Finally, 2 points, Right Honorable Speaker. We are just raising these issues for orderliness.
Yes.
And for me, I am not the character that would attack, especially a person that I hold in very, very high regard. Those who know me privately know my views about the First Lady. Yes, I love her, and let me mention publicly, I love the Honorable Mrs. Museveni. I, however, feel a duty. Yes, I love her. I, however, feel a duty.
Can you conclude?
I, however, feel a duty that we need to protect institutional dignity and decorum. So my view is, let us not treat it as a sermon, because doing so would imply that we are subordinating ourselves. I agree that the invitation is in good faith, except it could be made better. Finally, I would also advise her as a colleague, she's our colleague, she's our peer, to listen to the sentiments of your peers. Since this term began, the Honorable Mrs. Museveni is one of the few MPs that have not stepped in this parliament. And we do not take that so lightly. And then she calls us to go and say, do a COVID test. When does she do hers? Because we equally would demand that when you call us and you say, as an SOP, we do COVID test, when do you look at her results?
Honorable Obua. Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. Madam Speaker, before the last address to the nation by His Excellency the President, where he announced that schools would open in January 2022, the Ministry of Education and Sports, under the leadership of the Senior Minister, has been consulting. But when the President made the announcement in the affirmative, we thought it wise that we should widen the net of consultations. Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, you could have heard that in the recent past, we had the chief administrative officers at Kololo grounds. We were consulting on the same. The senior minister and the Minister of Education and Sports identified members of parliament being the representatives of the people of Uganda, because we are aware, since March 20th, 2020, our children have been home with us, honorable colleagues. This is purely a consultative meeting. We are aware that we are operating in a new normal. It is business unusual. We want to widely generate issues from the people's representative. After all those are generated in these consultative meetings, we will definitely come to Parliament and report to this institution. So, honorable members, just like the Speaker stated, this invitation is in good faith. You and me, we all have schools. We have children at home. Come we caucus. Come we debate. Come we generate ideas for the betterment of our all children. This is purely a consultative meeting. Madam Speaker, the First Lady and the Minister has written through you, humbly requesting for members of Parliament to come and we discuss in this consultative meeting. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And as it is said, it was a request, it's in good faith. If you don't feel like going, it is also your right. Honorable Migade? Honorable Migade?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on a matter of national importance, and this is to do with the increasing fuel prices. Madam Speaker, by 17th June 2021, the price of petrol was 3,900 and diesel was 3,500. As of today, the price of petrol is 4,600, that's in Kampala, and 6,000 in Buvuma in the islands. And for diesel, it is 4,200. This is over an increment of 17%. And Madam Speaker, according to the global petrol prices, by 15th November Uganda stands at $1.3, Burundi at $1.2 per liter, Uganda at $1.3, Burundi at $1.2 per liter, Kenya at $1.1 per liter, Rwanda at $1.13 per liter, Sudan $0.6 per liter. Those are some of our neighbors. Madam Speaker, why I'm raising this issue is the fuel is a major driver of the economy. And as we talk, cost of production has increased, the cost of transport has increased, not only to the general population, but even to members of parliament. And I'm very aware, Madam Speaker, that our rate is 3,500 shillings. So we should be one of the complainants, only that the public really listens to us. So, Madam Speaker, my appeal and my reason for bringing up this issue, I understand we have fuel reserves, which are located in Jinja. I would be much interested to know how much do we have in our fuel reserves? 2, for how long can those fuel reserves push this country? And then, lastly,
Information.
Okay.
Thank you, my colleague. Madam Speaker and my colleagues, I'd like to inform the August House that through what my brother has submitted, the price of fuel is biting. It has led to the increase of commodities and majorly food. But good enough, we people on the borders, we are benefiting from the spirit of East African Federation, that Ugandans are now crossing to Kenya to buy fuel very cheap. I therefore, Madam Speaker, want to inform that it is true and request the government of Uganda should open borders for people to go and buy fuel, cheap fuel from Kenya, so that the commodities can be cheaper. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Macho, you know, once you're a smuggler, you don't teach everybody how to smuggle.
Madam Speaker, that's what I wanted to conclude with, but I cannot encourage the country to practice smuggling, because that was then. But fortunately, we still have MPs who are smugglers who can give us reliable information. So my appeal is that the ministry responsible should update Parliament and actually the whole country.
Right Honorable Speaker, this is the August House of this country, and members in this House are dignified members. The Honorable Migade explicitly has stated that there are smugglers in this House. Ordinary people pay taxes and look up to the people in Parliament as their best examples. Is it in order, therefore, for my honorable colleague, whom I know has not been behaving in such a manner, whether presenting or in action, to state that there are smugglers in this House and he doesn't name them? In that case, therefore, if he thinks that there are smugglers, let him name them. If they are not there, our prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the orderly way would be to expunge that statement from the record of this Parliament and have him withdraw that statement immediately.
I did not hear the word smuggling. I did not. Honorable Minister, can you respond to Honorable Migade's issue? I didn't hear Migade's talk of smuggling.
Right Honorable Speaker, I've never defied any of your orders, but our honorable colleague must withdraw that statement.
Did you say smuggling?
Right Honorable Speaker, one of my best friends is Honorable Macho, and very many times we have referred to ourselves as smugglers
Order,
because
Madam
of where
Speaker.
we come from.
Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are some born on the border of Busia and Kenya. Like Honorable Migade is born in the waters. We, the people of Busia and the other borders of this country, we are not smugglers. We are cross-border traders. I therefore think Honorable Migade is not in order to call Honorable Macho a smuggler at all.
Honorable Macho, thank you for correcting the word. It is cross-border traders. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to congratulate my colleague for being a cross-border trader. Madam Speaker, as I requested earlier, I would like the Minister to respond.
Members, you're
to those
taking a lot
issues.
of time.
Thank you
Can
very
we
much.
have a response to that? Prime Minister, what plans do we have?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. Honorable colleagues, the issue of fuel prices.
Procedure, Speaker. Procedure. And I would invite my sister to take her seat as we do here. No, she's not my young sister. We shall compare age later. Right Honorable Speaker, I am not raising this against the Right Honorable Prime Minister, who I highly respect, as she knows. I am getting concerned that people just get to the microphone without sanitizing it. And I don't think she belongs to the group, the people we are ready to lose. Whenever I see her, she makes me very happy. So may we have smaller sanitizers to ensure we sanitize those microphones.
Can we have, yes. Honorable, thank you so much.
I'm lucky it has been sanitized by the doctor. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the issue of fuel prices soaring is a concern of everybody, but it is a global phenomenon. Yes, we have some fuel reserves. I want you, Madam Speaker, to allow that I order the minister in charge to come here next week and give a comprehensive report of how we are going to handle this matter.
Thank you. We can have that report on Wednesday next week. Honorable Macho.
Right Honorable Speaker, Umeme, an electric regulatory company, sells meters, electric meters, to our people, and they are installed by the Umeme staff. And Madam Speaker, after installation, they take 14 to 30 days and report back to communities and begin arresting them that they have installed fake meters in their houses. Madam Speaker brought out this matter as a matter of national importance because Umeme staff has made Busia municipality in particular, since my people are cross-border traders, a place where they come and arrest anybody on these guys that people have installed fake meters and begin charging money from them. Madam Speaker, at the same time, the people of Umeme, through the directive of the last parliament, they were directed to put a Umeme service office in Busia to help the districts of Namaingo, Bugiri, because our people move long distances when they have a technical electricity problem to go to Tororo. Madam Speaker, as I talk now, Umeme came and paid an office a year ago and it has not started functioning at all. My prayer, Madam Speaker, the people of Busia are tired of Umeme taking bribes from them whenever they feel they are broke. Secondly, the people of Namaingo, Bugira and Busia are praying that Umeme should open up a service office so that when they have a problem, they stop moving longer distances to go to Tororo to rectify the problem. Information.
Madam Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. We have held a number of meetings with Umeme as a regulator, and we shall continue to have them. The issue of extorting money from our communities is illegal, and therefore I want to, through you, Madam Speaker, to ask the communities to stop giving bribes to these people. But the Minister for Energy will come back here with a comprehensive report about the matter.
We still need a report on Wednesday. Honorable Segona.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, my younger brother. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. The Prime Minister says the Minister will come here to explain. I also filed a question some time back about Umeme using police for debt collecting. And the question was to government to explain whether private companies can hire police for debt collecting.
So that should be one thing that they have to come and explain.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on a matter of national importance, and this is a matter that touches two ministries. The first, you have the Ministry of Kampala, and you also have the Ministry of Lands failing to resolve the issue of the dispute relating to land between the Catholic Church in Tinda and the school. It started as a small matter. At some point, I saw the Minister for Lands going there. And here I mean the Honorable, what is her name? Nabakova Judith. And instead made the matter worse. As we speak, the church has literally been blocked from accessing their church. That is the Catholic Church.
It is not the church that is blocked, it's the parishioners.
Yes, the parishioners cannot access their church. My understanding, though, was that we are actually the church. They have been denied a constitutional right. One, to associate. Two, to worship. In the ministry, the two ministries, and the problem has been exacerbated by both the ministry responsible for Kampala and the Ministry for Land, failing to resolve this, but instead pouring more fuel into the fire. May we have an explanation from those two ministers, or one of them. I'm not sure they have a supervisor. Or the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Robina Nabanja Mkafiri to explain. Thank you. Sorry?
Honorable, you're done?
Yes, may we have an explanation?
Minister of Kampala.
Thank you, Right Honorable. Honorable members, good afternoon. Honorable Speaker, we've sat several times, I think 3 times, and we've resolved. The Attorney General has also intervened in this issue. We're supposed to sit on Wednesday to solve this problem, but I think we did not meet because of the problems which were in town. But we are working on that issue, and we are going to solve it amicably. Because also the Attorney General has also advised that, okay, the registered and lawful proprietor of the land issue in Ntinda Primary School, the church is implored to respect the proprietor rights of the school, because we have said that the school is the owner of the land, but right of way is supposed to be given to the church. That's how we said when we start with the Attorney General. And we were supposed to sit on Wednesday, but Wednesday the meeting was not there, so we are supposed to sit next Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Members, there is a problem. It's not just the way the minister is saying. In Ntinda Catholic Church has been denied access of way for people to go and worship. Let's not downplay these things. Because these people have come to my office. The Monsignor of Kampala came to my office that the school, Ntinda Primary School, is denying them access to church. This is a government school, a public place of worship, and you deny people access to go and worship, access to parking. The people, the parents of those children are the same parishioners in that place. So, Minister Kampala, we need a response from you on Tuesday on what action you've taken for us to have access. And Minister of Education, actually the problem is coming from education. We need people to be able to access the church. It's just access. They don't want ownership.
All right, Honorable Speaker, like I've said, we said that there shouldn't be any demolition of the perimeter wall. So we told them to allow the Catholic people to access the road. But if it is not yet done, I think we shall just go there and
I think, right, Honorable Speaker, I raised this question. I am Anglican myself, and proudly so.
Please sit.
Sorry?
Him.
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
Madam.
Anglican and proudly so. I would not want to see a religious war starting from such a simple, solvable matter. Lands and the KCCA are in charge of demarcations and plotting in this country. Even getting to this stage where we are, in respect of this, is negligence on your part. First, I want to encourage the Honorable Minister to be confident on the microphone. We are her peers. You should not fear us. But the point I am making is that you are in charge of plotting.
Can you have respect for Hajat?
Yes, I do, and that's why I'm encouraging her.
Members, just like Honorable is saying, let's not bring in a religious war. Don't bring a religious war.
Madam Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, using the powers entrusted in me as the Prime Minister of Uganda,
yes.
I now order the management of the school to allow people to pass as we handle the matters.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to acknowledge the pragmatism of the Right Honorable Prime Minister. However, the school she has directed is not here. Neither is any of its representatives. Can the Prime Minister undertake to inform this House next week, Wednesday or Thursday, on the action taken to ensure that the parishioners of Tenda Catholic Church have gotten access to the church without any further interruption?
Minister, Prime Minister, as a leader of government business, kindly report to this House on the action taken.
Madam, I had seen the Minister for Education present. That's why I believe he has taken note.
Procedure, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Minister Education, we want a feedback. We don't want these things of coming on microphone. We want an action. I personally went to pray in that church this Sunday, and I could not access the church. Honorable next item.
Order.
Bills first reading. The Mining and Minerals Bill 2021.
Continue impressing the speaker that you want to talk. Because if it is an illegality, then there's no compromise. But
Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I beg to move that the bill entitled the Mining and Mineral Bills 2021 be read for the first time. And accompanying the bill, as per requirements of our rules, the certificate of financial implications signed by the Honorable Matia Kasaija, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development. I beg to lay, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. In compliance with the Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure, the bill is referred to the Sectoral Committee on Natural Resources, which will be required to examine the bill in detail and report back to the House in 45 days. Next.
Statements by ministers. Item 4.1, the security situation in the country.
We have a statement on the status of security, especially on the attack that happened on Tuesday, and this is going to be given by the leader of government business. And as I said before, let's limit a debate on this because these are security matters. Let's limit a debate. We are still looking for these people, and the moment we open up, then we will have a problem. So, Prime Minister, can you give us your brief statement? It's basically information for us to know what's happening.
Madam Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Nambozo, Betty, Madam Teacher, I'll give you time to talk.
And members of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the country witnessed yet 2 other terrorist attacks, one in the vicinity of CPS and the second one along Parliamentary Avenue in the morning of 16th November 2021 at 10. and the other at 6:10 respectively. Yet, Honorable Speaker, this serves to formally inform the Honorable House and also to reassure you and the country that this threat is not insurmountable. It will be dealt with. His Excellency the President will brief the country about the matter this Saturday evening. Both attacks were executed by 3 suicide bombers, like you already know. One attack at CPS and 2 attackers riding motorbikes in the Parliamentary Avenue incident. All the 3 attackers died in the incidents. In addition, so far 4 lives of innocent civilians
Honorable, can we hear the report?
are confirmed to have been lost. 3 of these, namely the police constable Kungu Amos, civilians, we have Basive Ismail and Sunday Christopher, Katana George. The 4th victim died yesterday in hospital. We relay our condolences, Right Honorable Speaker, to the families of the 4 innocent victims. We also relay our sympathies to the scores of those injured persons, I mean the 37 in number, including 7 who were critically injured. We wish the injured quick recovery. Government will organize compassionate assistance to the families of the bereaved families as well as the injured persons. A 4th suicide bomber was pursued by security forces, leading to his neutralization and the successful disarmament of other electronic explosive devices that were already assembled for use at his home in Nansana, Katoke. Honorable Speaker, this threat is real, but can and indeed will be dealt with. It calls for our collective will, resolve, and means, and to decisively deal with it, honorable colleagues. We can never submit to terror. We can never. We must give our all preserve to our way of life, our common security, peace, and stability. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, we call upon the public not to panic, but also not to be complacent at the same time. Be extra alert and vigilant. Look out for the usual, for the unusual. Enhanced intelligence operations shall continue, like you are seeing, in order to deal with the threat. There are also other measures and operations that we are doing, as you can see. That Honorable Speaker, I want to assure our colleagues, the Honorable Namboze, ensure timely reporting of anything suspicious to the authorities. Specific SOPs will be developed and circulated to the public by police, as already directed by the President and the Commander-in-Chief. Uganda will prevail always. That Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Procedure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. But members, I want to tell you, it is just laddish enough for you, if the Speaker is not giving you space, to wait and speak on whatever is being delivered. You can't keep on order, procedure, what. I mean, let's be ladies and gentlemen. Procedure, From Basalirwa.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I have attentively listened to the Prime Minister, and in her statement, she says government will undertake various measures to deal with this situation. Right Honourable Speaker, the spokesperson of police did say that these criminal attacks were carried out by elements of ADF. So the perpetrators are known. Right Honourable Speaker, isn't it really the right time for government to consider engaging ADF the way it did with LRA? Right Honourable Speaker, in 1997, this country was attacked by ADF. They did the same in 1999. We are now being told that in 2021, ADF is attacking us. So the attackers are known. When we were attacked by LRA, government engaged them. The attackers are known. Why don't we engage them? Why don't we begin considering discussing with these people, dialoguing with them? Shall we continue? We did speak with Moses Ali, General West Nile Bank Front. We spoke with the FOBA, Force Obote back again. We've spoken with so many groups, and these are known. When we attacked Right Honourable Speaker in 2010, the reason was known. Al-Shabaab did say we had invaded Somalia. They were known. Here, the reason is not known, but at least the people are known. And it is on record, government has said it is ADF. Why don't we speak to them? Right Honourable Speaker, as we talk now, the US government does not recognize the Taliban government, but it has appointed Qatar to engage in diplomatic and consular relations on their behalf. The Nigerian government is considering speaking to Boko Haram. So where terrorists are known, where groups are known, it is only prudent that you engage them. So I really think, Right Honourable Speaker, that one of the measures that government should consider very seriously, in my view, is to consider engaging these people. The leader of ADF, Right Honourable Speaker, is in prison. He has been on remand for over 6 years. He has not been tried, but he's in your custody. You have the right to try him. You have even the right to engage him. Even I think through engagement, engagement, Right Honourable Speaker, perhaps we'll be able to address this issue.
Is on procedure.
Yes, order is allowed when someone is...
Honourable Basalirwa, I did not hear the Prime Minister saying that we know the people who attacked Ugandans. You bring in ADF. For if you heard it from the government spokesperson, some of us never heard it. That is speculation. It should not be said that Parliament of Uganda has said it is ADF that is attacking the country. That should not be the issue coming up that is from us. Now, if you, there is a right forum for you to engage security on that kind of dialogue. And I don't see how the leader of ADF is coming here. Let's talk of what happened yesterday and how we should protect ourselves, not pinpointing people and speaking with speculation.
Point of order, Right Honourable Speaker. My young brother, the Honourable Asman Basalirwa, is a lawyer of some sizable standing. I know this because I led the way for him, and I was intrigued when he used the word, the leader of the ADF is in prison for the last 6 years. You see, being a leader of a group that has been classified as committing treason is a criminal. This man, Jamil Mukulu, is a suspect that has not been convicted. And therefore, a finding or a statement that he's the leader of ADF is prejudicial. He is the Honorable Asuman Wasalirwa, therefore, in order to make such a conclusion when somebody is appearing before a court of law. I do not have any problem with the rest of his statements. To me, it is civil for people to engage. And it is only civil men and intelligent men that engage. And I would encourage the civil and intelligent men and women across to engage.
Just permit me to conclude.
So, do you want to make a ruling for yourself?
No,
Are you making a ruling for yourself?
Sorry.
First of all, even for you to discuss on what is in court is sub judice. And it is an active case. And you know sub judice is regarded as sub judice when the case is active. So it's not good for you to bring in the leader of whichever ADF or whatever. It's not correct. Honorable Angora?
Procedure, Madam.
Honorable Angora?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister for the statement she has made. Allow me also add my voice and also the voice of the people of Tororo South County for the condolences we extend to the families that lost their loved ones. Madam Speaker, I had initially intended to raise a matter of national importance concerning what happened here on Tuesday. But allow me enjoin the statement to the statement that has been issued by the Right Honorable. It is unfortunate the country experienced twin bombs that claimed lives of our people. The bomb that occurred on the Parliamentary Avenue was so close to Parliament, and in that case would have been victim of that bomb. You never know. I was raising an issue of concern, and my concerns were, one, as Parliament, we don't know what the intentions of those who passed along our avenue were. But how ready were we as Parliament here on our evacuation? We have never been subjected, even in our orientation, on evacuation in the case of any danger. So we should open our antennas and know that there should be preparedness in the unfortunate circumstances. Another issue of concern that I was raising, we have what is referred to as an assembly point. But in this situation, we have never known what circumstances can we assemble in such a place. So maybe this is a concern for us also here in Parliament, that we should be focused and be able to utilize the available places that can take care of us in such instances. Madam Speaker, another issue that I thought should have been of very serious concern to us is the alert, the way we alert our members. That is a problem. You will recall that after the bombs exploded, and most especially this one that was near us, members of Parliament, others were moving towards the gate, others were just converging in front there. So now, do we have a bell, like an amber bell, for the case of the UK Parliament, which is rung and that can create attention to the members to know and see how to take care of the unfortunate situation? Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, you will recall that one car was lit and it was up in flames, and it took the police fire brigade quite some time to arrive there. But within the precincts of Parliament and within the neighborhood where we know we have our own offices on the other side and this side, we have provisions for hydro water points here with very long pipes, as I'm made to understand, that can reach that place. Why didn't we test even those ones to see whether our hydro plants here are working enough for the good of our neighbors and even our colleagues and our officers the other side. So, Madam Speaker, as the country mourns this, I think we should also rise up our level of preparation for us to be able to see how to manage such situations in the near future. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we hear from the Commissioner?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Prime Minister for the statement she made. I know she's listening to me. Right Honourable Speaker, what I talked about at the beginning is what I want to repeat again, and the Prime Minister maybe didn't get me. I want to implore you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, what are we going to do for these people whose properties were destroyed, people who are stuck? No, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm driving somewhere. This is not the only bomb blast we have had. Right Honourable Speaker, we had a bomb blast in Komamboga. We also had another bus. So I am requesting the Prime Minister to include all these areas. Honourable members, these are our voters and our population. And Honourable Sereko, it happened in your constituency. So, Right Honourable Prime Minister, I am requesting that we consider all these victims of Komamboga, the one of the bus to Rukungiri, and then the recent ones, the two. I beg to submit.
Thank you, members. As I said before, we are not going to subject this to a debate. These are security matters. I am also aware His Excellency the President is scheduled to address the nation on these matters, and we will be hearing from him. Let's not dwell so much on this. We've known what happened, and at least we are sure and aware that security is in charge. But you must also take charge of yourself. Let's avoid being in crowded places. Let the security of Parliament be beefed up. And Commissioner, what Honorable Angura raised is a very serious matter. As a commissioner, you must take it up. Where is the assembly place? How do they evacuate people from such an area? It was not in this place, but you are aware that it broke almost all the windows, all the glasses in this building. So you need to look at that as a commission. Next.
Item 4.2.
Next.
Compensation. Item 4.3. Commemoration of the Africa Industrialization Day, 20th November 2021.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving us the opportunity to inform and update you and honourable members about the commemoration of the African Industrialization Day. The day is observed globally on the 20th of November annually to mobilize commitment of the international community to the industrialization of Africa. Here in Uganda, the day will be observed on Friday, 19th November 2021, which will be tomorrow. And the theme for the day is protection of inclusive and sustainable local manufacturing to bolster Uganda's industrial sector. I also use this opportunity to highlight some of the key issues regarding the industrialization agenda in Uganda. Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, industrialization plays an important role in transforming an economy from subsistence to one based on manufacturing of goods and serves as a primary engine of economic growth, creation of jobs and wealth, technology transfer, investment flows, and skills development. It is a journey from peasantry to modernity and from poverty to prosperity. Madam Speaker, prior to COVID-19, our gross domestic product rate was at 6.5%. Industry was the main driver of this growth, expanding at a rate of 10.8%, followed by agriculture at 5% and services at 4.9%. Our total import bill, Madam Speaker and colleagues, stood at 7.3 billion in 2019. It is important to note that most of these items that we import can be manufactured domestically. For the last 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the supply systems for industrial inputs and markets for finished goods. Industries that have been most affected are those that largely depend on imported raw materials. Africa is endowed with vast resources in agriculture, mining, and marine, and if properly harnessed, can stimulate resource-based industrialization. Industrialization is therefore a sine qua non to Africa's long-term development, achievable through promotion of value addition to raw materials to create jobs and wealth, reduce on the trade imbalance, and eradicate poverty. In this regard, the African Union and African countries have expressed strong commitment to industrialize Africa. The goal of commemorating African Industrialization Day is to raise awareness on the strides made to industrialize Uganda and the commitment, key interventions being implemented, and the efforts to advance structural transformation in Uganda and Africa. Madam Speaker, over the last 3 decades, the NRM government has steadily established and built a strong foundation to increase value addition and grow the industrial sector. These include investment improving the business environment by increasing industrial support, infrastructure such as roads, energy, information, communication, and technology networks, construction of industrial parks, strengthening of investment climate, research, among others. Some of the key achievements, Madam Speaker and members, are mentioned. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, specifically, the following key achievements have been registered. The industrial sector contribution to GDP has increased from 3.5% in 1986 to 27.4% in 2020-21. Our manufacturers are diversifying into many new products, such as industrial refined sugar, ethanol sanitizers, masks, casein, powdered milk, medical oxygen, and steel products, to mention but a few. Production of manufactured goods has increased. Sugar production, for example, is now at 540,000 metric tons, with consumption of 380,000 metric tons, and surplus of 119,000 metric tons. Cement has reached 8 million metric tons. Steel production recorded 219,000 metric tons in 2022. For example, we can now produce ceramic tiles, assemble mobile phones, and produce fabrics for export. The number of industries has increased from 81 units in 1986 to more than 5,200 units in 2020. And the manufacturing sector employs over 1 million direct workers. Madam Speaker, we did pass the National Industrial Policy in 2020, and the policy focuses on industrial value chains which prioritize the following: agro-based industries, fruits, coffee, etc., extractive-based industries that include iron and steel, copper, oil and gas, knowledge-based industries, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, electronics, etc. We have also put in place, Madam Speaker, strategies for implementation of this industrial policy and the Industrial Licensing Act. As part of the implementation of industrial policy and Industrial Licensing Act, the Ministry is focusing on the following strategies. 1, to develop regulations for licensing all industrial operations, update industry database, and monitor compliance to regulations by the manufacturing industries. The database will provide for online registration of new industries and licensing of operations of all industries. We want to focus on reducing the cost of doing business. This will include more roads, making sure that all manufacturers get electricity at 5 cents, and building the 22 industrial parks. We're also improving the quality and standards of our products in order to target regional international markets, the East African market with a population of 400 million, the African Free Trade Area with a population of 1.3 billion, the European Union market, and AGOA, among others. We intend to recapitalize Uganda Development Corporation. Over the medium term, we hope to put in 500 billion to be able to focus on the following. In summary, agro-processing. Under this sector, Uganda Development Corporation plans to invest in areas but not limited to coffee, Irish potatoes, salt, cocoa, tea, fruit, cotton, grain, sugar, and cassava. Processing based on growth corridors and 18 agroecological zones of Uganda. Feasibility studies have been completed or are near completion on the following processing factories awaiting funding for development. 1, cocoa in Bundibujo, starch in Acholi, Lango, Masaka, and Teso, fruit factories in Luwera and West Nile, tea factories in Kisolo, Buhweju, and Shema, a sugar factory in Luuka, phosphate factory plant in Sukulu, Tororo district, salt processing at Lake Katwe, paper industry, soya beans for oil processing, and the revival of cotton ginning in Ilira, among others. We also look at mineral beneficiation. Under this sector, Uganda Development Corporation will focus on cement, lime, marble, sheet glass, copper, iron ore, steel. Some of the feasibilities done under this sector and are ready for investment include clinker for use in cement production in Moroto, copper in Chilembe mines, among others. UDC, other strategic investment will include support infrastructure development and services support partnerships with the private sector. We also continue to capitalize Uganda Development Bank, which will help to provide affordable and long-term financing for manufacturing industries, especially for small and medium enterprises in key strategic areas. And we will, Madam Speaker and colleagues, continue to attract foreign direct investment to play a critical role in the growth of our economy, especially in the industrial sector. Over the last 20 years, foreign direct investment has grown from 0.03 billion in 1984 US dollars to 1.3 billion in 2019. Government will continue to attract FDIs, support the industrialization agenda of the country. We have put a table that shows how much we are importing. For example, in petroleum products, we're importing 1.3 billion, and we are trying to fast track the supportive infrastructure of pipeline, refinery, oil roads to be able now to replace this. Steel alone, we are importing 400 million US dollars, and you can't believe medical and pharmaceutical products we're importing 300 million. So our strategy of export promotion and import substitution will focus on repressing the foreign items that I've listed there. Madam Speaker and colleagues, we have some planned activities for tomorrow, and the foreign activities will be undertaken during the commemoration of the African Industrialization Day. We will participate and have interactive sessions to engage various stakeholders on the following thematic areas of industrialization. We'll have a media briefing, the 3 physical meetings to dialogue on industrialization with limited number using online tools to observe social distancing and because of COVID-19. We'll also use the opportunity tomorrow to launch the National Industrial Database and Information Portal and the Green Manufacturing Strategy. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, industrialization is a sure way to develop Uganda from a peasantry economy to a modern one. It is a development strategy that will unlock the potential of Africa by adding value to the abundant raw materials the continent is endowed with, and in turn create jobs, wealth, and help to banish the demons of poverty that have belittled Africans for ages by putting money in the pockets of Ugandans. I therefore invite you to attend and support the scientific commemoration on African Industrialization Day on Friday tomorrow in Kampala at Golden Tulip Hotel through Zoom and other means, and commit government support for the industrialization agenda of our country. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Members, as you are aware that the United Nations has observed that the industrial development is of critical importance for sustaining an inclusive in economic growth for all African countries. It has further been observed that the industry can enhance productivity, promote employment, and introduce new equipments and techniques that can be used. Industrialization with strong linkages to domestic economies. And as we debate this, I want to invite you to consider how we can add value to what we have to competitively produce what can be exported out. And also among ourselves on what we can use on the African continent for the free trade area, which presents a market to over 1.3 billion people. So we need to ensure that industrialization creates jobs for our people, improves on our products that we can export out of the country, and improves on our GDP as a country. So the debate is open for 20 minutes or less. Solo, Gilbert.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. On record, I'm Geoffrey Kayemba Solo from Bokoma, Simbi South. I've read and seen the Minister's statement on industrialization. But the problem we have here is that we have many foreigners who don't even pay taxes. For example, I know a company that assembles phones here. They underpay workers and don't pay taxes at all because maybe the government policy gave them a holiday. This does not favor local investors and local people that have done some industries. Only what they face is overtaxation, and then in the long run, they run out of the business. So I think the government should favor and give incentives to local investors because they help the Ugandans, the citizens. Secondly, I saw also in your statement about agriculture. But people in our village, especially Bukama, where I come from, they live on coffee, but they don't know how the price will be tomorrow or another day. The prices are not regulated at all. At least we would have a minimum price. People to know that when I put in this, at least I will get this. But the things of going, they do things, fertilizers are very expensive, pesticides are very bad, and at the end of the day, they face losses. So, right, Minister, I request you to look into those things for the good of our country. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for the statement. Industrialization is the way to go. We have many countries who were so poor, but because they concentrated in industrializations, now they have attained the level of first world country. As Uganda, we need to concentrate on industries. Right, Honourable Speaker, I would like the Honourable Minister to tell us the plans for the government in balancing industries in this country. Right, Honourable Speaker, if we are to take stock in this country, you find that there are other areas that do not have even a single industry. Like the whole of Acholi sub-region, we do not have any industry apart from the current sugar industry that was set in Atiak in Amoro district. But for all those many years, we didn't have even a single industry in Acholi sub-region. And we have many industries in northern Uganda that are no longer working. Simply, many investors normally move to northern Uganda because we do not have conducive atmospheres, especially electricity supply. Electricity in northern Uganda is totally poor. The power is so weak. A local investor will move, set up an industry, will never take 2 years, pack his equipment and take off. What plan do you have as the ministry in order to balance industries in the whole of Uganda? Thirdly, Right Honourable Speaker, in northern Uganda, we normally grow crops. Majorly, we deal with agricultural products. But the way we preserve our crops, the values normally become extremely low, and it do not attract good market. Therefore, with industrializations, with good equipment, I know we shall chase away poverty in our region. Honourable Minister, I would like your plan in order how to develop industries across the country. Thank you.
Honorable Semujo.
I want to thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity, and for my friend, the Honourable David Bahati, for this statement. The goal of this day on page number 2.5 is to raise awareness on the strides made to industrialize Uganda and the continent, and key interventions that have been made. Right Honourable Speaker, we need to look at the budget of the sector that the Honourable Bahati heads, and his aim is that this sector should be contributing at least about 30%. And he lists achievements here, roads. I don't know where he lives. You need to go to the industrial area. From 8th Street, 7th, 8th, all those roads are impassable. Namamve, part of it is in my constituency. It is dust. If you go to Rwanda and look at their industrial park, you will want to visit every day, Honorable Bahati. You remember the first money that we passed for the industrial park in Namamve was eaten. And you know who ate it. There are no roads in Namamve. And that is supposed to be like your main industrial park in the country. People have put up factories, very serious buildings, but they are living in the dust. You're only doing roads going to where you sleep. Where is the priority? Look at the supplementary budget that the government has brought. Classified expenditure in the State House, 1 billion shilling, 100 billion shilling. Why wouldn't you devote some of that money to come and do the industry? Look at the road from Joker's Hotel, right near Nambole Stadium. That road goes to your industrial park. See the conditions it is in. And you want to cause awareness, maybe of the bad roads in the industrial sector. Right, Honourable Speaker. Countries decide, and I keep giving Dubai as an example. You must choose what you want to be. Dubai said they are going to develop their economy on 3 T's. Trade, tourism, and transport. For you are everywhere like a UPC. Myoga, from Myoga to Parishimodo, You are just fishing in the lake. What is your priority that is backed by the budget proposals? Because this is not an academic paper. You must come to Parliament and say, I want to do the following. But see, Madam Speaker, therefore, I want to urge the Minister, next time when you bring a statement like this, tell us what you want to do and the budget proposals, and then seek for our support. But awareness of industrialization in Africa, and maybe and being you are talking about NRM government as if Uganda started in 1986, as if there were no industries in Uganda before. So please be nationalistic. Recognize all the contributions made by the others and invite others to support what you are doing. But the moment you address a very serious matter in a partisan way, you are completely demobilizing other people. Finally, Madam Speaker, I'll take information with the permission of the Speaker.
Can you conclude?
Madam Speaker, the recapitalization of Uganda Development Corporation, this is a matter that I'll support when it comes here. Because part of the problem we have had is that this corporation, which is supposed to be doing business on behalf of government, it is doing a smaller project per smaller project. The Honorable Bahati should bring here, because at one time the President raided our reserves and took away 1.4 trillion shilling to go and buy jets. I want you to come here with a budget of 2 trillion, that this year we want to spend 2 trillion on either capitalization of the development corporation or on the industrial sector. And you stop presenting this as an academic paper just for us to enjoy as if we are listening to music. I want to thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of officials and athletes of Uganda Netball Federation. We're supposed to have a motion today recognizing their contribution for the success and achieving the gold and silver medals, but we push the motion to Tuesday. But in the public gallery, we have Honorable Margaret Nantongo Nziwa, former Speaker. You're most welcome. We have Dr. Don Rukare, the Chairman of Olympics Committee. Welcome, Doctor. We have Reverend Canon Duncan Mugumya, Commissioner of Physical Education. We have Ms. Hajara Dembe, Principal Education Officer. We have Honorable Babire Chitio Sarah, our own. Our own is there. We have Honorable Brigadier General Bekwaso, Flavia, we miss you. Our own also. We have Honorable Sarah Nkonge, Manager Male Netball. Where are you? Honorable Segona wants to see you. We have Miss Elizabeth Kitimbo, Team Manager. Mr. Kirunda Charles, Assistant Manager. Mr. Antale Daniel, Director Marketing. Salongo Mugerwa. Ms. Namudu Sara. Harriet Kabuye. Kala, Miss Apollot Harriet, Miss Phoebe Namtebi, Stephen Norman, Emmanuel Sekago, Nakate Olivia, Stella Oyela. Now these are the players that you should clap more. Stella Oyela, Irene Eyalu, Jessica Chan, Lilian Agio, Margaret Bagala, Farida Kadondi, Nora Lukuse, Safi Nalwanga, Sadia Nasanga, Joan, Sadra, Mohamudu, Sylvia Adija Nakabuye, and Ruth Meme. Then we have executive of Muhumuzi Richard, Mande Amina, Kibedi Nambusi Aida, Amutengesa. Then Nava Gloria, Mayanya James, Kaira Jackson, Nansubuga Wilson, Libo Ben, Nachigosi Alice. The team participated in the 2020 Africa Challenge in Namibia, where they emerged as a gold medalists. And thereafter they participated in Netball Africa Championship, still in Namibia, where they emerged as silver medalists. These achievements have propelled the Uganda She Cranes netball team from position 3 to 2 on the African continent. Please join me in welcoming them and congratulating them. Congratulations, She Cranes. We are proud of you. On Tuesday, we will have a motion congratulating you and welcoming you back from Namibia. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you're tired. You can excuse yourselves and go and rest, and then we will meet on Tuesday. Sarah, now. Sarah, you had something?
Thank you, Right Honorable. But he has gone out.
Make your statement,
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. It was about Honorable Hati's statement about industrialization. That is the way to go. But when we talk on the roads that lead to industries, they are worrying. I wanted to quote that of Nakasika. We have Namukekera Industrial Park, which is doing wonders because it is making the best tiles in this country. But the road that leads to that industrial park from Matuga to Kapeka, it is very worrying, Honorable Speaker. Sometimes people get cut off. Honorable Speaker, I remember very well it was an issue here. I raised a matter of national importance, and you instructed the minister in charge of works to bring a report here that has never been brought to this House, Honorable Speaker. That's what I wanted to raise. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Obigaros.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I join the House in thanking the Honorable Minister, but I just want to propose that we need to zone this country. Honorable Speaker, my district in West Nile has been known for growing tobacco. Now we have shifted to growing sunflower and soybeans. I'm so sorry that we may be an influx because this season that has just ended, people grew a lot of soybean. From 3,500 farmers were given 900 shillings. And now I took burden to register farmers in Terego district. There are over 60,000 farmers, yet they buy the seeds for more than 10,000 because they are buying first-class seeds. I really want to employ the minister. The industry is talking of in Lira is not having the capacity. They're only producing oil, and the rest that can come out of soybean is just left to the dogs. It's my humble appeal to this House that we really need to do something bigger and better for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Black.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. For record purposes, I'm Agaba Aisa, aka Black, Buganga East. I want to first thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this time, and greetings from Buganga East. People love you so much.
Thank you.
I thank the Minister for the nice information and good information he has delivered on the floor about industrialization is the way to go to develop our country. True, but we are having problems with electricity. We are having problems with water. And we all know that industrialization, to go ahead for better, we have to have abundance of water, we have to have electricity in our places. Imagine in my own area where I come from, a man with a small-scale industry looking for a transformer that has taken 3-4 years. That imagine electricity being brought in our area, giving us transformers that have a low voltage, cannot support industrialization. So we have a problem with electricity. Up to now, the man has closed down because he has nothing to do. He has tried to look for a transformer. They keep tossing him up, telling him, go to State House, Minister of Energy. He doesn't know where to go. So I wonder what we are going to do and how we are going to promote industrialization looking at such problems. You're thinking of improving on industrialization, and you're only centered in one place, like in one zone in the central region. What do you have as a minister to bring also, because us as Bunyoro region and other regions in Uganda also want industrialization in order to improve their areas, in order to encourage other people to get employment. Thank you, I beg.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity. I also want to thank the Minister for the statement, and particularly, Right Honourable Speaker, when we look at the theme, promotion of inclusive and sustainable local manufacturing to bolster Uganda's industrial sector, it looks very ironical. To me, it's an irony because somewhere the minister also emphasizes direct foreign investment, and that we are going to continue promoting direct foreign investment. Right Honourable Speaker, the minister is aware that agriculture is still a backbone of this economy. But when we look at the budget given to that sector of agriculture, it is just mockery that we can talk about industrializing or promoting agricultural industry when we don't have the funds. Honorable Minister, in 2015, this parliament approved $100 for agriculture cluster development projects, where they are supposed to do roads and other projects to give a boost for the agricultural sector. You are aware, Honorable Minister, these multi-billion projects have all failed in the agricultural sector. And it is only a 6 years project. Right Honorable Speaker, these agricultural cluster development projects are closing next year. But when you look at what this fund has done, it is completely nothing. And therefore, here's a minister who is talking about promoting agriculture. Right Honorable Speaker, we appreciate the efforts of the government to promote industrialization. But as members have said, when you look at the whole situation in the country, we have some factories, some fruit industries, which we established in West Nile. But before they could even withstand the test of time, the fruit industry in both Yumbe and Arua collapsed. And there's nothing which is done to rejuvenate this. So I think, much as Honorable Minister, we are trying to think about the industrialization or promoting of industrialization in this country in the 35th year of governing the country.
Members, let's limit our debate to 2 minutes. Sanon.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
I want to thank the Minister for his statement. Right Honorable Speaker, industrialization is associated with so many advantages which shouldn't be over-mentioned. Unless this country goes industrial, we are not safe. I want to thank the Minister on page 5. He stated that he has made a feasibility study to make sure that some processing factories are started and funded. Specifically, the last one, he said that revival of cotton ginning in Lira, among others. Honorable Minister, I want to inform you that we have a defunct ginnery in Ivulumba, that is Kaliro district. This ginnery has not been in operation for the last 20 years, and people would really wish to see that they continue engaging themselves in cotton production. Which plans do you have? Let me think that this statement, which says among others, Kaliro is among those ones which have not specifically been mentioned here. And I really want to request you that next time it should be specifically read that cotton ginning in Lira and in Kaliro, specifically Bulumba, because this area is still virgin for industrialization. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, in 2012, the President visited the Kaliro district and he encouraged the people to grow fruits, citrus, pineapples, among others, and he pledged that government will support the establishment of a fruit factory. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas we are establishing sugar factories in Busoga, we need also to interest our people to go into other areas like fruit growing. So, Honorable Minister, I wanted, through you, Madam Speaker, to inform the Minister that there is this pending pledge which should be taken seriously, such that our people benefit from all these government industrial programs. I beg to submit.
Faith. Dr. Magolo.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to indeed add my voice to the statement of the Minister for the advantages of industrialization cannot be overemphasized. I stand to first and foremost appreciate the work like what is happening in Mbale, for we have an industrial park which is there. Of course, it is still under development, but we want to appreciate that for the start. But also look at how we are going to engage the younger people. So I expect that the Minister, we should have a deliberate action through skilling to see how younger people are going to get involved in this issue of industrialization, because that is where we are heading. So we need to build their capacity to see how they can be part of it, but also to do value addition to already what we have. We have in Mbale, we have the Bugisu Cooperatives Union, and the issue of coffee as the most taken drink, which is soft, cannot also be overemphasized. We need to put in place systems to add value to that, because Ugandans everywhere, there's a coffee shop, but we need to put it to a good standard. And also export, we cannot also, export is very important. We know that there is we earn a lot from that, but we need to add value to that. And as we promote that, we need to also look at the cottage industries.
Donald.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the Honorable Minister for the presentation. But Right Honorable Speaker, through you, I want to inform the House that this issue of industrialization has stayed theoretical in some regions of this country, more especially the issue of establishment of industrial parks. In the Rwenzori, for example, apart from the small progress we see in Kasese, but for the Rwenzori and the Fort Portal Industrial Park, we have not seen tremendous success, and people's appetite had raised, but we don't see enough progress. Right Honorable Speaker, 2 years ago, as the Rwenzori went through a lot of processes with our people to discuss issues that were concerning the region, especially industrialization, and people came up with proposals on establishment of small-scale industries. They were all promised under the agri-led program, but of recent, the agri-led program has been overtaken by events, I think by the parish model, which we love so much, but also interested in the agri-led model. And really, Right Honorable Speaker, we have a big challenge. Right Honorable Speaker, my request is, given the current trend, we really need to empower our small-scale industries, not the big scale. Why am I saying this? If you look at the nature of fuel prices, if you look at the nature of industrialization required and the support that is given, it's all targeting the central, it's targeting, not central as a region, the central business districts in Kampala and the like. But in our small places, we really need strategies to support our small-scale industries to benefit Ugandans, not these big-scale industries in Kampala and the others which benefit more of the external people, when our people in the communities can be able to establish their own small-scale.
Linus.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Linus Ngompek, representing the people of Chivanda North, Chiriandongo District. Usually, we thank our ministers for statements made on the floor, although some of these statements stay on paper and are not implemented. And that's the biggest challenge we have, especially in regards to members of the NRM party who are tasked with implementing things that would help Ugandans manage and enjoy their country. We are talking about industrialization. Recently, we've put a lot of pressure on the road network, and yet, as government or Uganda, we have assets like the railway line and then the ship at Port Bell. The refurbishment of our ship is taking place at Port Bell, but recently we heard that the locomotives that were bought by Uganda Railway Corporation do not fit on the railway sleepers that we have in the country. And yet, Parliament passed a budget for these locomotives to be purchased. So, if we continue as members of Parliament approving monies to such entities that do not promote the will of the people of Uganda, then the issues of industrialization and all other factors that are aimed at promoting the interest of Ugandans through industrialization, I really believe. Thank you. Okay.
Martin.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, I want to thank you for the statement. Right Honorable Speaker, the factors of production, if we are talking about industrialization, are many. But most importantly, we need local materials, raw materials. Not only that, we need labor. Not only that, we need infrastructure. Right Honorable Speaker, we have quite a number of agencies that the Ministry for Trade needs to work in line with. The Ministry of Agriculture is very crucial if we are talking about industrialization. It is important that the Ministry of Trade works with Ministry of Agriculture to improve on agriculture production. As we speak today, Right Honorable Speaker, I have 10 sub-counties in my constituency, but I do not have even a single tractor in my constituency. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, in my constituency, I have only one technical institute. That is for the government of Uganda. And the population that I have in my constituency is over 250. The youths who are supposed to be skilled, I'm very sure there are more than 50,000. The technical institute that we have can only accommodate 300. That means we have an excess of 47.
Honorable Segona, Betty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The statement given by my brother, the Honorable David Bahati, is simply annoying. Annoying because you get the impression that these people know what to do, but they are just bad-hearted. With all that the Honorable Bahati has said, why are we where we are? Number one, and where I agree with my brother, is what are you industrializing? You see, you must concentrate on areas where you have comparative advantage. And my mind runs, say, to agriculture. Before you industrialize, first, can you produce? What happened to the extension workers that we had in this country that are nowhere? Why? Because their services have been taken over by men and women in uniform who have no skill in that area. And this calls upon us to ask ourselves, and I'm asking the minister, where is integration in this government? Have you sat down to harmonize strategies with the other ministries? Agriculture, for example. Where is research as a component in your plan? It is nowhere. Why? Because money for research has been scattered in some other offices. Two, where are the silos in this country? Research has shown that we lose up to 70% of our production to pests. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We have no silos to work on storage as a component of value addition. Therefore, ensuring quality control. Where is fair taxation in this country? When we give tax holidays to foreign companies and not our very own, and taxation as a political tool. How about the budget line? What is the budget for agriculture before you talk about industrializing what you do not have? Finally, because time seems to be running out, is the issue of corruption. You people, before you check yourselves, before we check ourselves, and we handle and tackle corruption, we cannot move. People who come to invest here, they meet our bureaucrats, they start asking for shares in their companies. Those are matters you must handle and attack head on. I'm happy that the Honorable Bahati is now the minister in this sensitive ministry, and he has no record of corruption. And for that reason, probably he will be able to take us where we want to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to participate in this debate by way of bringing the example of the Namamve Industrial Park in Mukono. Madam Speaker, more than 2 decades ago, this House degazetted compartment 1 to 11 of Namamve for industries, and land under the Investment Authority was allocated to various developers to put up industries and factories. Right Honorable Speaker, 2 decades after, the majority of those people, the investors who were given land, have not utilized the same land. And sadly, most of them have now sold this land, which they got almost free of charge, but they are selling it over to other people and fetching billions of money. Additionally, although Parliament degazetted 11 compartments, the remaining part of the forest has been highly encroached on. From compartment 12, where we have the roofing industry, to the entire area that was left to offer a buffer zone to the Victoria Lake has been greatly encroached. Right Honorable Speaker, some developers have constructed hotels. I hope you will now see one of our big hoteliers now having set up another hotel in Namamve Industrial Park. We have about 3 hotels already in Namamve. Right Honorable Speaker, other people have set up residential houses in Namamve. And others who are attempting to do something connected to industries have constructed warehouses. And there is no manufacturing going on in Namamve apart from Coca-Cola. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg that it pleases you, maybe through one of our committees and COSASE, for example, to go and investigate the issue of land in Namamve from those people who were allocated land, who have not done anything, those who have sold off, and those who have constructed residential houses, hotels, and warehouses. Right Honorable Speaker, a forest was brought down. It was the source of livelihood for my people. The feeling was that our youth were going to get the jobs in these industries. The few people who employ our people pay them almost nothing. Peanuts. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know why. The industrialists who have come up with some form of industries move the
Wakiso.
Honorable Speaker, 1 minute.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Betty Ethonalima, the woman MP Wakiso District. Right Honorable Speaker, on this matter, as we plan to commemorate the Africa Industrialization Day, I wish to draw ourselves once again to the National Industry Policy, which was launched in December 2020. This one also was looking at one of the key objectives as economic transformation. And this brings me back to inquire once again from the ministry, as we talk today, as you've invited us, have you again considered the fact that you can never have industrialization taken over or supervised fully by nationals? Have you looked at the local governments? How many commercial officers are involved in this very planning or in this very industrialization day when we commemorate it? Where are the labor officers? You are very much aware that in this country we can't do anything by ourselves at the national level, but it's very crucial to consider the role of local governments in each and every aspect we do, because they are the very ones who move to check the statistics of senior levels vis-a-vis junior levels. Is our population, Uganda, fully employed there? So I implore the ministry at this moment to look into the consideration of ensuring that even local governments are able to consider this commemoration and at least conduct their local commemoration moments as we also get to the national level. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. And I'll straight away beg you to give me additional 2 minutes so that I also speak for you, because I know where you are. It is difficult for you to debate. Yesterday I had an opportunity to interact with the farmers from your constituency. I was in Kachombala, attending a burial there. Right Honourable, number one, allow me to appreciate the ministers, because today the front bench is fully packed, except for a few ministers who are busy on WhatsApp instead of taking notes. So disappointing. I see a few of them, but I don't want to name. Yeah, but I'm happy today they are here, because the issues of industrialization are matters of cross-cutting nature, where we need the participation of all ministries, including education and sports. Madam Speaker, there is one issue here. The issue of cotton growing, the ginning, and having a complete line. Mr. Minister, sir, you are my friend, but I want you to take position and take charge. The Greater North, that includes the entire region from Elgon, pushing up to Acholi, back to Bunyoro, has been dependent so much on cotton. But most of those granaries have collapsed. And there is an issue here, the climate change. Irrigation that we have talked about has become a song, and people are dancing to it now. You have not taken it seriously to irrigate the Greater North. Our biggest advantage is on agriculture. If you go to Mukongoro, there was a granary there. It collapsed. In the whole of Teso now, we see Kachombala. There is another one in Oladot.
You first speak for Kachombala, because that's my constituency.
Yes, just two. Madam Speaker, there is one factory, one industry working, the cotton ginnery, one in Kachombala, another in Oladot. Then in Ginger, we are hearing about fine spinners. But most of our ginned or lint cotton is exported. We do not have a complete line of production. Yet we have a big advantage. What are you planning, Honorable Minister, in terms of revamping this collapsing industry?
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the elaborate presentation on industrialization. My concern, Honourable Minister, is the failure to synergize the government departments to breathe life into the industrial sector. You very well know we need water, we need infrastructure, but the miscoordination has rendered some of the already existing parks very unproductive. A few weeks back, I visited Nakasongola Agro Park along Gulu Highway. A very amazing facility, no water, no electricity, therefore dead. When I met the Chinese who runs that facility, he presented to me a letter from Uganda Revenue Authority slapping him a 4 billion tax demand. Yet he cannot get into production because for the time he has been there, there is no electricity in that place. My humble appeal, Honourable Minister, let's synergize these different government agencies to have a well-organized approach to the industrialization of this country. We have no business having Ministry of Trade and Industry coming up with a program where Ministry of Works, which is charged with the infrastructure, is not involved. Where Ministry of Agriculture, which is producing most of the raw materials that are going to be used in some of those industries, is not involved. I so appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Saga Isaiah. I represent Budadili East. Right Honorable Speaker, I think this is the best time we need to industrialize Uganda. If you move down to our communities, they say we have not done a lot to industrialize. Much as members are talking about increasing supply before industrialize, we have a lot of excess supply in the agricultural sector. If you come to Soroko, you come to Budadili, we have a lot of excess supply of tomatoes, which are flying over up to Juba and wherever. I believe if we supported the ministry and we put up those cottage industries, we industrialize the Anglo-based industries, we put up them, we can absorb a lot of supply coming from the agricultural sector. The prices can stabilize and a bit go up as we add value in them. We can export as well the value added of the agricultural products. And if we do selective application very well, that the industries are even distributed. They can offer back the backward leakage and the forward leakage to the communities, that they can supply the raw materials. We can get the output from the agricultural sector, which can also offer as raw materials to the industrial sector, agricultural sector as well. We can be exporting a lot of those goods. Me, I believe, Madam Speaker and the colleagues, this is the best time. If you look at the budget for Ministry of Industry and you look at it critically, it's very small. What we need to do as Parliament is to support the ministry. They put up these industries, they create employment for our people, they offer the market. Other technologies about training and putting up vocational studies and so on, all of them are demand driven. As long as the
Members, as we agreed that we should be leaving this place not later than 6 for security reason. So we need to limit this debate. Can we hear from the Minister? Minister, you've heard what people are saying. We need validation, we need the linkages, but for you to be able to do that, you need electricity, you need water, you need good roads, you need all those kind of things. You need to improve on the production, the storage, and of course the quality controls. So you need to address a number of those issues for us to say we are really in industrialization.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and colleagues, for the contribution you have made on this important topic of industrialization of our country as the engine for economic growth, creation of jobs and wealth for our people. Under the National Development Plan 3, this is a point Honorable Isaac is raising, we now planned, instead of sectors, we did programs, and it is specifically a program called Manufacturing Program, which is chaired by the Ministry of Industry. So we bring together all the stakeholders in a particular area, in a particular sector, to plan. If we need water, electricity, that's why you see I was talking about offering 5 cents for the manufacturing, and that's going to be handled by Ministry of Energy. So there is a program. We are working together. We are working together as government to address this issue of industrialization. It is true, if we work together, we achieve more. If we work in silos, we achieve less. The Ministry of Agriculture, Madam Speaker, for example, in the Cabinet on Monday, presented a strategy to address all challenges across the value chain, to be able to have enough production with quality and with standards. Some of the challenges that we are facing as a country, We have, for example, huge markets in Africa, in AGOA, and in Europe. Remember, Europe, we are allowed duty-free, quota, everything but arms. But the problem has been the standards of our products. So we are addressing all issues of value chain, and the Minister of Agriculture is addressing this.
Well, thank you very much, the Honourable Minister, for yielding the floor. And I'd like to thank the Speaker for this opportunity. He just told us that Minister of Agriculture was in the cabinet this week to present their plan. I'm seeking a clarification. One of the sectors, the coffee sector, earns this country $500 million annually. We export 8 to 9 million bags of coffee every year. But you as cabinet, and this is the clarification I'm seeking, sat and said you are reverting the Uganda Coffee Development Authority back to the mainstream as a department in the Ministry of Agriculture. Do you think this inconsistency you have in the cabinet will not affect this particular sector, this cash cow of this economy? $500 million annually. And you are now getting that institution and reverting it back to the ministry. I'm seeking a clarification from you.
The Speaker has given me a few minutes to be able to hit the target of 6 p.m. The Honorable Katuntu, the discussion on restructuring is still ongoing, and the debate will be concluded when we finally come to the House for amendment of the relevant laws, but we hear your concern, and your input will be very important at that stage. Finally, we have also approved a strategy of textile and apparel. We would like, somebody talked about cotton, to revive the cotton industry. And
yes,
we want
procedure.
everybody.
Madam Speaker.
Procedure.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I've heard the minister saying, finally. Madam Speaker, I'm seated here feeling pain for my colleague from West Nile and Arua, who said soya is grown in Arua and it is thrown, while in Tororo, people are buying soya at a kilo at 5,000, in Arua at 900 shillings. And the minister seems not to be ready to provide a solution to that kind of situation. And he's saying, finally, is the minister really correct to really conclude?
Maybe he's finally giving you a solution to prices. He's giving you a solution to prices. And Honorable Minister, what these members are raising is something very serious. The cost of the products that they produce. Just imagine in Arua, soya is at 900. In Tororo, it is. Silas talked about the cotton ginneries. We don't know the cost of cotton now. We don't know the prices of cotton. People have gone back to grow cotton, but they cannot sell. So we don't know what is happening. And that should be a solution you're giving to this country as you celebrate the Industrialization Day.
Procedure. Procedure.
You people, can't we finish the day?
Madam Speaker, maybe at another appropriate time, this House would need more time to discuss the issues of industrialization, to be able to allow the ministry to answer specific issues.
Thank you.
Yeah, but there was one issue about Kalilo, which the minister who comes from Kalilo.
But before the minister from Kaliro, you need to come to this House with a paper on the issues that have been raised. You've just touched them. But we need what is the solution to industrialization. How do we do the linkages? What about the tax incentive? Why do you give an Indian who comes from all the way to sell phones, and you're living in Ugandan here? The issues that have been raised by Honorable Nambose, if it is for industries, let it be for industries, not residential.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I will come up with a paper that answers some of the issues, all the issues that have been raised here, and even others that and next week I'll be ready to do that.
Okay, Kaliro.
1 point on Kaliro, Madam Speaker. Thank you very
Kaliro.
much.
Motion, Madam Speaker.
Can we first hear from Kaliro?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The issue of a cotton ginnery in Kaliro is of concern to the whole region. And Madam Speaker, we have moved a step further and consulted investors that are going to partner with the people of Kaliro to ensure that we use the ginnery that has been redundant for a very long time. We have also problems in ownership. And so far, the issue is still in court. But I want to assure my colleague who raised this issue that we shall soon solve that problem. But, Madam Speaker, with your permission, I wanted to supplement on something that came up paramountly here on the post-harvest handling and losses. We have carried out an assessment of the storage facilities in the country. We have an agency under the warehouse receipt system. We would like to develop a paper that we will bring to Cabinet, will submit to Cabinet for consideration and eventually here to ensure that the most losses are during times of supply and demand. When the supply is over, then the demand is overbeaten and the prices go low. So what we intend to do is if somebody brings a commodity, puts it in a warehouse, that person and an organized farm group is given a receipt. The receipt the person is given is that amount is equivalent to a receipt. It is like a land title in a sense that at an appropriate time we would like to link the receipt system with the banking sector, such that if somebody has his commodities in the stores and the prices are not yet palatable, we would be able to allow him to take the receipts and to a bank and be advanced some money. What is the purpose?
There's information from Namutumba.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to seek clarification from Honourable Minister. Me and the Right Honourable Speaker are former bankers, and the government tried out the warehouse receipting system that failed because you have no control over the interest rates that are charged in commercial banks. So I want the minister to be clear to Ugandans. If a farmer from Burumba takes a receipt to Centenary Bank in Jinja, whether the government will guarantee on the interest rate that is charged on this person who is borrowing on this warehouse receipting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And maybe secondly, do you have any government bank that
for the time being, Madam Speaker,
that guarantees the farmers?
For the time being, we may not have a central government bank that guarantees the interest rates as raised by Honorable Naigaga. But what happens is that in the absence, we have the Microfinance Support Center. The Microfinance Support Center is countrywide.
Order.
The Microfinance Support Center can receive the receipts
Order.
and advance money, Madam Speaker, to the various farmers, such that when the prices increase, we are in a position to give the money and pay back the commodities less what has been advanced. That is the system that we are trying to adopt. Madam Speaker,
Are you adapting or you are using it?
Madam Speaker, this is in the process. This is what we are trying to do. We have carried out an assessment. We are developing a system that can fit in the circumstances.
Information.
And what security do you use with the Microfinance Support Center?
A receipt is a security, because somebody, a farmer, would have put his product in a warehouse. The warehouse gives him a receipt. That receipt is the equivalent of security. He can use that receipt.
So where is the warehouse where these farmers are supposed to put the
We
produce?
have carried out an assessment in the whole country. We are going to develop warehouses and improve on those that are not palatable to now. And that's what we are trying to do, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, with due respect, you're telling us what you are going to do. In prosperity. For us, we want to know, what are you doing now?
Madam Speaker, what I've submitted to the House is what we are intending to do for the country. Not now.
Members, yes, Haj. Honorable
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Sometimes it's better. A million apologies, colleagues. Sometimes it's better, especially at the front page. You come with the Attorney General. It helps, because what the minister is trying to explain actually is already provided for in the law. And I don't know why the minister is even saying that they are coming up with a policy. It is there. Okay? So some of these issues, there is no reason, Right Honorable Speaker, when the land attorney should not be here to advise his colleagues. So you are going to put us on a debate which actually is useless. The warehousing security system is already in place. You can do it. You don't need even a policy now. It's already there. So, my colleague, I think let us not waste so much time, Right Honorable Speaker, on that one. It is already in place. Many businessmen are actually doing it. They import goods and get the warehousing receipt system, pledge it in the bank, and as they, sorry? Information? Oh,
Hey.
through the speaker.
Honorable Katuntu, so you've become the speaker. Let Honorable Katuntu finish. Let's not spend a lot of time on that. Okay. You might hang yourself, I fear you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank my senior brother, Honorable Katuntu. The issue, Madam Speaker and colleagues, is the gap in the warehouse receipt system, which we expect the minister to answer. And this is a question the speaker is asking. In Arua, for example, the owner of the warehouse receipt system will buy soy at 900 shillings. So the warehouse receipt system does not solve the problem. You need to create price stabilization fund and regulate. So, Honorable Katuntu, you are right to advise the minister, and this requires the Attorney General to come up with those adjustments. Thank you.
You had finished?
No, I had concluded, but only to say that you don't need that policy because there is already a legal regime in place. That sorts out the problem you are talking about, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister, go back and handle that. Don't call for another debate. Let's go and harmonize and come back to the House.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the honorable members for their submissions, and I would like to assure this House that as a ministry, we want to exploit that relevant law to ensure that farmers can be in a position to store their products, and for issues of tororo, if the price is low, then we can use that system for the price to get further when the commodities are in the warehouse, And when the prices stabilize, we can be able to proceed with that. I want to thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, members. Allow me to vary the order paper. There's a statement from Honorable Legal, Honorable Rakoja.
Motion, Madam.
A statement from Honorable Rakoja. And then we go to budget. I mean a supplementary budget.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a request to you, Madam Speaker, through the House. On 5th October 2021, the Succession Amendment Bill was read for the first time and was referred to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, which was expected to report back to the House today, Thursday, 18th November 2021. Sorry, let me repeat it. This is a request to you, Madam Speaker, through the House. On 5th October 2021, the Succession Amendment Bill 221 was read for the first time and was referred to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and we were expected to report back to this House today, Thursday, 18th November 2021. Whereas the committee has been able to interact with a number of relevant stakeholders, we still have consultative meetings in the selected districts that are yet to be undertaken. It's on this note, Right Honourable Speaker, that I move under Rule 218(2) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament to request for 3 more weeks to enable the committee to finish its work.
Thank you, Honorable Rakoja. We'll add you time, we'll give you the 3 weeks you've asked for, and you present the report.
Speaker. May I lay this on table?
Next.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Budget Committee on the Supplementary Expenditure Schedule number 1 for the financial year 2021-2022.
Chairperson Budget. Chairperson Budget.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues. Aware that Supplementary Schedule 1 was laid on the floor by the Minister of Finance and referred to the Budget Committee, I'm hereby to give a report of the Budget Committee on the process of the supplementary budget. And I first have to lay a copy of the report of the committee. I also beg to lay minutes and responses, submissions from the entities that are responsible for these supplementaries. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the minister laid a supplementary requiring a total of 3.819 trillion shillings as supplementary budget and had already spent, with a legal limit of 3%, 1.343 trillion, and now therefore requires prior approval of Parliament for 2.476 trillion. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, the background of this supplementary is an intervention, number 1, of COVID-related emergencies and disasters, number 2,
Please switch on microphone.
expenditure for stimulus packages for support of the economy to recovery, Also expenditure to fund activities for external funds, expenditure for security interventions, aware of issues emerging, and for other ongoing government contractual obligations. Madam Speaker, would like the House to note that in the appropriation budget, the revenue locally generated was estimated to be 22.425 billion, 22.42537 trillion, but due to the emerging issues of COVID, which led to lockdown activity, drawdown, this was revised downwards by government to 20.590 trillion. That is a fall in revenue of 1.835 trillion. Madam Speaker, the committee scrutinized the sources of this supplementary and were informed that the supplementary is out of a suppression within the government budget of some non-development activities which would be stayed, like travel abroad for non-mandatory travels, consumptive items, like workshops which were not possible during lockdown, and other methods of doing business. That amounts to 1.298 trillion shillings. Government also has arranged to have additional borrowing of 2.049 trillion shillings, and there is additional external funding of 471 billion shillings, thus balancing with the need for funding the supplementary. As usual, the methodology involved consultation with the different stakeholders, MDAs that are to implement these activities, and also relevant documents were examined, and we found that the supplementary is within the agreeable legal procedures, legal relevant provisions of the law. Madam Speaker, this report is in two parts. Part A is going to look at the detail of the requests, vote by vote, that was falling under 3%. That's what the Minister of Finance had already released and utilized. But still, the mandate to approve is for this House. So I start with vote 001, Office of the President. Required 11.513 billion towards expenses for presidential advisors, of which 3.2 billion was for salaries and 8.3 billion for motor vehicles for presidential advisors, 3.974 billion settlement for court awards, 3 billion for establishment of public investment management executive oversight platform, 1.572 billion to clear outstanding obligations of the Commonwealth Resort in Munyonyo for housing state visitors during the swearing ceremony that you all know had to occur. It was a mandatory activities. 550 billion was provided to procure a vehicle for the Minister of State for Economic Monitoring. 500 billion facilitate intelligence in the fight against COVID. And 6.464 billion facilitate RDCs to implement presidential directive in fight against COVID. So, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends the House approves 27.57 billion to Office of the President. Vote 002, State House. 50.4 billion was spent for initial startup of research on COVID-19 vaccine for the manufacture plant. So we want to build our capacity. 5.69 billion was to fund the anti-tick development project, vaccine project. The committee recommends approval of 56.090 billion to State House on the 3%. Minister of Defense, vote 004. 10.416 billion was released to the minister to cater for COVID-19 related activities during the second wave. 400 billion was provided to meet shortfall in operation expenses for defense, as the committee recommends approval of 410.416 billion to Minister of Defense. Vote 005, Minister of Public Service. $1.54 billion for payment of emoluments and benefits of Vice President and Prime Minister as per the Act 2010. So the committee recommends approval of that amount, 1.541 billion to Minister of Public Service. Vote 006, Foreign Affairs. The committee recommends approval of 350 million shillings for hosting of the Pan-African Women's Organization. Uganda now is the host, the secretariat is in Uganda. And an advance was made of 350. I think we should be very happy that we are now hosting the Pan-African Women's Organization in Uganda. The secretariat is here. Vote 008, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. There was a release of 100 billion to support small business enterprises to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. 13 billion to meet construction obligations under integrated financial management system and e-government procurement. 1 billion to facilitate activities of Presidential CEO Forum Secretariat. And the committee recommends this House approves 114 billion to vote 008, Minister of Finance. 009, Minister of Internal Affairs. The committee recommends approval of 0.3957 billion for personal protective equipment for COVID. Minister of Local Government, 914 million was provided for COVID-related interventions. The committee recommends approval of that money. Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, 45 billion shillings was released to that vote for the Albertine Region Sustainable Development Project. Minister of Education and Sports, vote 013. 48.5 billion was released to enable the ministry prepare learning materials to cater for classes P1 to 4 and senior 5 to senior 6. The committee recommends approval of 48.5 billion for that purpose. Minister of Health, 2.9 billion for feeding patients. 49.5 for state regional support teams, all these are COVID. 144 million for printing COVID registers and distribution of COVID request forms. All that coming to a total of 111.048 billion shillings. So the committee recommends a total of 198.953 billion to Minister of Health, which was involved in the fight against COVID-19 second wave. And we commend the ministry to have done a good job. Vote 015, Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. There was a release of 8 billion for revamping cooperative unions and 2.8 billion shillings for procurement of fine motor vehicles for the new ministers and permanent secretary. So the committee found it fit and recommends the House approves that amount of 10.8 billion to vote 015. Vote 017, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development. There was an extension of the construction period for Karuma Dam and therefore an extra obligation requiring 28.98 billion for owners engineers, and the committee recommends approval of 28.95 billion to Minister of Energy and Mineral Development for that purpose. Vote 018, Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development for COVID response, 53.5 billion is recommended to be approved for that. Vote 020, Minister of ICT, 8.1 billion for the Minister of ICT and National Guidance for COVID-related issues. They had to do the activities you saw. So the committee recommends that approval. Ministry of East African Community required to procure vehicles. First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of East Africa and the other vehicle, a total of 3 motor vehicles, that is 1.2 billion shillings. Directorate of Ethics and Integrity. Committee recommends approval of 279 million. Uganda Cancer Institute, we recommend approval of 2 billion 48 million to Uganda Cancer Institute to support the accreditation of the laboratory. Uganda Road Fund, whose activities on road maintenance, 3 billion shillings. National Citizenship and Immigration Control, 864 million was released to vote 120 to support our immigration officers on duty at the border posts for personal protective gear and all other SOPs. Vote 130, Treasury Operations. 228.3 billion was released to cover contingencies. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues are aware that the Parliament approved only 62 billion during the budget, and as such now this amount had to be reinforced to try to come to the agreed law to meet the requirement for contingency fund. Vote 144, Uganda Police Force. Uganda Police Force was definitely aware that they were very much involved in a lot of COVID intervention in the second wave. 19.011 billion was released to Uganda Police Force, and we all saw a good job police performed with that release of funds, so we recommend approval of that. Uganda Prison Service. Uganda Prison Service had a number of activities relating to COVID, and as such, there was a release of 6.243 billion to Uganda Police Service to support them in control against COVID within the prison areas. Vote 158, Internal Security Organization. Committee recommends approval of 4.764 billion to the Internal Security Organization and 1.111 billion to External Security Organization. Colleagues, there were a number of votes that funds were released for various referral hospitals to support them during COVID, and that one is captured under Annex 8 of the report. A total of 8.633 billion was released. So we request the House to approve that amount. Mission in Paris had to rent a new chancery premises, so 1.176 billion was released to them. the same as the mission in Abu Dhabi, which was released 99 million shillings for their coordination. For the mission in Abu Dhabi was to coordinate Expo 2020. Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory, DIGAL. Definitely when you have a number of activities of COVID, you end up with the DIGAL. There was a release of 231 million to that directorate, and we request you approve that money. Uganda Investment Authority, for rent obligation, they had 5 billion shillings released, and we request for that approval. Kabale District, we request the committee to approve 190 million shillings to Kabale District. And the Kayunga District, for rehabilitation of dilapidated secondary school and some primary schools, a total of 5 billion was released to Kayunga District. Rukiga District, Rukiga, 500 million was provided to facilitate them complete a district headquarters, which was in a dire need of completion. Colleagues, there was a release of money to various local governments to facilitate the district task forces on COVID-19 response, and the details are as per Annex 9. A total of 52.826 billion was released to different local governments. And Right Honorable Speaker, permit me make a correction here. The annex is not Annex 9, but should be Annex 10, which was a total of 52.826 billion. So, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, that is part A of the report, which funds were already released and activities already done, and we would request the committees on oversight can follow up oversight for that monies. I only request that we do approve that expenditure. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, permit me now go to part B of the report. That is the amount that cannot be spent by the minister before approval of Parliament. So this is an additional supplementary to the other one. That comes to a total of 2.475969 trillion. That's what was requested. I go to the details for us to have. Vote 001, Office of the President. An amount of 11.423 billion was requested to clear outstanding payee and withholding tax for the Commission of Inquiry into Land Matters. 4.22 billion to support Office of Head of Public Service and Secretary to Cabinet. 1 billion is required for court awards. 55 billion is needed to purchase motor vehicle for Minister of Ethics Integrity. 189 million for payment of benefit and claims for former internal security organization staff, and 3 billion for enhancement of Office of Economic Monitoring. The committee observed that pay as you earn and withholding tax for the Commission of Inquiry into Land Matters should have been deducted at source during the period their salaries and all other services payments were done. As such, monies were already released for that activity, and the committee therefore advises Parliament not to approve this amount of money, 11.423 billion. The committee recommends approval of motor vehicle purchase for Minister of Ethics at 550 million shillings, but approve it under vote 112, Ethics and Integrity. This one will be catered for when we move to Committee of Supply. This amount will appear under vote 112, Ethics and Integrity. The committee recommends approval of 4.2 billion to support Office of Head of Public Service and Secretariat to Cabinet, and 1 billion for settlement of court awards, 189 million for payment of benefits and claims to former internal security organizations, and also 3 billion shillings to enhance Office for Economic Monitoring of Government Projects and Programs. State House. The issues 141 billion is required to fund Kira Motors, 100 billion classified expenditure, 4 billion to facilitate intelligence operations, 27 billion for research and innovation, 5 billion for financial support to Events Association, and 3 billion to support Gravity Investment Company. Committee recommends approval of 141 billion for funding Kira Motors and 27 billion to support research and innovation, but must be under vote 001 as per the resolution of Parliament which was passed in this House. So that amount will be supplied under vote 001 where the functions have moved. The committee further recommends approval of 4 billion under vote 009 Ministry of Internal Affairs for facilitation of intelligence operations. The committee recommends, therefore, only 108 billion be approved to State House, of which 100 billion as classified expenditure, 5 billion to support Events Association Uganda, and 3 billion to support Gravity Investment Company Limited. Vote 003, Office of the Prime Minister.
Yes. Yes, Honorable Sarah.
This.
You know, it's reading figures in my.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I see members with their iPads, implying that they have the document uploaded, and therefore, I believe some could have even read. Looking at the time, Madam Speaker, you indicated that we should be here by 6. I don't know whether, if we moved the way the chairman is moving, whether we shall be able to really debate. I therefore wanted to suggest that if you could permit, the chairman could simply summarize, since members have the details on the iPad, and then we go into debate and conclude this matter. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Members, you have the document on your iPads. Chairman, can you summarize? Then we also get the summary of the minority report.
Right Honorable Speaker, I therefore summarize as follows. That the House considers the committee's recommendations and approved supplementary expenditure under Schedule 1 for financial year 2021-22 as outlined in the table 2 below. Recurrent expenditure for supply will be 2,018,942,898,703 shillings, and development expenditure of 1,758,645,054,089 shillings. A total of 587,952,792 shillings. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you,
Madam
Chairman.
Speaker, we also, the main committee report was signed by about 27 members, which was very, very supporting, but we got a report, a minority report from 3 colleagues. That is Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi, Honorable Semuju Nganda, and Honorable Namuga Goreti. So I would like to lay
Please lay on table.
a copy
And
of the
clerk,
minority report and maybe
clerk, reflect
beg
all
to
the
move.
details of the report in your Hansard. Honorable Chivombi.
Right Honorable Chair, I thank you for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I will straight away go to the issues. Number 1, Right Honorable Speaker, Rule 153 subsection 2 of our Rules of Procedure states that supplemental estimates presented in Sub-Rule 1 shall clearly spell out the sources of funding for the supplemental expenditure requested for each vote. Right Honorable Speaker, this was not complied with. To the contrary, the Ministry of Finance presented broad sources of funding, and there were 3. Budget suppression, domestic borrow, budget suppression of 1.29 trillion, a domestic borrowing of 204 trillion, and external funding of 471.3 billion. The committee requested the minister to present the suppressed budgets for scrutiny. Right Honorable Speaker, the minister up until today in the morning had not availed the committee with the votes that were suppressed for us to make a critical analysis and draw the conclusion. Right Honorable Speaker, why you have issues with this is so cardinal. In the Ministry of Finance, attempting to suppress a budget, they are encroaching on the powers of Parliament to appropriate. Right Honorable Speaker, the law established only says the Minister of Finance can do a supplemental of 3%, for which they try to hide under. But it is envisaged that they have found a resource, a windfall of money over and above what was budgeted for, either borrowing or raised revenue. When the Minister of Finance attempts to suppress a budget, the conditions laid in the law are clear. You either do a reallocation, which is the sole monopoly of Parliament to approve, or a virement, which is restricted to only 10% and within a vote. So the committee needed to critically analyze and scrutinize this suppression of 1.2 trillion and ascertain whether the Ministry of Finance did comply with the law. If they offended the law to the latter, the Rules of Procedure and the Public Finance Management Act defines clearly what this Parliament should be taken. Right Honorable Speaker, this matter is so critical because it has become an annual event. We changed the budget cycle, Honorable Speaker, and said that by 30th of May, the country has got a fully approved budget. So that by 1st of July, the Minister of Finance has a budget to start with. But by 1st of July, the Minister of Finance invokes the provision of 3%. Before they start on the budget, they first consume a supplementary. This is abnormal. It's not done in any budgeting process anywhere in any country. When we were in Zimbabwe, somebody said, can the government do that? Is there a parliament that approves it? Right Honorable Speaker, that's why we recommend in our minority report that the 3% should be stayed approval up until we go through each and every vote that was suppressed and analyze and critically know that they conformed to the law. This suppression will not affect government functions, Right Honorable Speaker, because the money has already been spent in any case. But we want to set a new chapter and compel government not to, we spend a lot of time. I've been in the budget committee for the last 5 years. We burn midnight candles to approve these budgets. There couldn't be a super body somewhere unconstitutional that reviews the work of Parliament. This is about us and our powers, and we need to fight and protect them. So I've spoken about illegal cuts, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to also draw honorable members to the essence of these suppressions. They said, and they committed the Secretary of Treasury and the Minister of Finance and the President, that they were going to crowd out excessive and consumptive recurrent expenditures in our budget, extravagance, workshops. When they looked at the budget, they came out with 102-point-something trillion in the suppression. But when you look at the 3.3 trillion that I've brought here, recurrent budget still has got 2 trillion. That means you suppressed 1.2 and brought 2 trillion, an excess of almost 779 trillion, right? Billion. Right Honorable Speaker, so what was the essence of the other exercise? Aimed at suppression, because they interfere with the plans of agencies, including Parliament. I have a case where they suppressed less money on a single item, and they gave them more money in the supplementary. And the danger with it, honorable colleagues, is that in the supplementary, ministry officials now exercise discretion. When they exercise discretion, it is a recipe for corruption. Because instead of the money passing through normal channels, now counting officers have to speak to semi-gods in the Ministry of Finance who hold them at ransom, and that's why there is corruption in this money. Right Honorable Speaker, items that Parliament rejected at appropriation, these guys fund them by 1st of July. That is actually abuse and illegal of the powers of Parliament. That's why we simply state that now that the majority committee, the whole budget committee, did not look at those budgets, let's stay that until we look at it. It's incumbent upon us to do so, because some of the suppressed money is in our districts, is in our small agencies where people are voiceless. Right Honorable Speaker, let me speak to where they put the money that was suppressed. For instance, in this budget, there is 153 billion for purchase of new vehicles for ministers. For heaven's sake, Right Honorable Speaker, every minister, even if he's an official, becomes automatically a member of Parliament and partake of the 200 million for a member of Parliament. So why do you create an emergency because you don't have a vehicle? Can't you wait for 6 months under normal budgeting, don't distort the national budget, and we avail you a new vehicle? Do you need to, after all, you have already taken 200 million. So where is the patriotism of the people we elect as ministers who want instant comfort and luxury? We're in a 550 to 600 million vehicles. As if the vehicles MPs drive can't drive ministers. Right Honorable Kelly, this one we must curtail. Right Honorable, that's why I'm moving here, that any money for purchase of vehicle should be delayed until the next budget, so that there is proper planning. And across board, I don't care for which agency. Right Honorable Speaker, now, the Minister of Finance appeared before Parliament and talked of this money, and this culture is setting in our Parliament, honorable colleagues. We have associations that run private business that want to come here and receive donations in billions of money. There is a company called Events Association Uganda. And I can go through the directors. And you know that the directors here are some of the richest people in this country. But these rich people who always parasite on donations of state are also not good entrepreneurs. And we can't encourage them. If you permit me, I can go through the directors. If you don't, I will not. Now I've left it to the discretion of the speaker.
It's like you've all become the speakers. Can you summarize your report?
Yes, I can summarize my report, Right Honorable Speaker. The directors are the following. Now, there is another one.
I'm telling you to give me the summary, not the directors.
The directors.
Those people are not here to be able to explain.
Some are
for
here,
themselves.
Right Honorable Speaker. Like the directors of...
I have not given you permission anyway.
The directors, for example, there is a company called Gravity, whose directors are members of this house. And they are here. Some are ex-officials that want government to pay them 3 billion for donation. Honorable colleagues, donation and in a supplementary. Right Honorable Speaker, this money is going to be borrowed. The next borrowing in this supplementary is 2 trillion. Because of the 2 trillion, our debt to GDP ratio is going to raise to 54%. Because we want to make some people comfortable. And we are doing this. Right Honorable Speaker, let me speak to, there is a company here. Honorable, my friend from Mutungamu was here, preside. Still this agency has come here for 50 billion. It is under parliamentary investigation. This expenditure should be stayed until that investigation by Parliament is done with. Otherwise, we breed impunity. Right Honorable Speaker, there is, now let me go to the mother of all issues, and as I summarize, called ATIAC. ATIAC sugar. Right Honorable colleagues, Uganda has so far invested 171 billion in ATIAC. The shareholders of ATIAC, the so-called who own 60%, they have invested 120, but we a minority share. They are seeking an investment of another 108. By total of that would have invested 290 something billion in ATIAC. With that, we shall still be a 40% holding in a company where the director, Amina, is the chairman of the board, is the executive director. A company which the committee responsible for trade has said has a huge management issues. We are sure this money will not be good. The majority report has agreed with the challenge they face and have recommended the following, which we seek to amend. They have said the only way we can fund this company is if we are increasing our equity in the company. And I want to upload the majority report. But here I want to really point to the minister, Right Honorable Speaker. If money is to move to ATIAC for equity, we need to amend the narrative. We need the minister to commit that the money we are going to give will strictly go to buy equity and raise our stake in ATIAC. I know the committee has made recommendations, but recommendations of Parliament are advisory. Quite often, I've been in this Parliament for some time, Right Honorable Speaker, these recommendations are quite often ignored. Now, for us to give the money, we want the minister to amend the narrative here and say this money you are taking is purposely for equity and increasing, actually is for takeover of Attack Sugar Factory. Because once we have invested, how can a rich man be a minority holder? Uganda is the biggest investor in the company, and you a minority. Which economics is that? I know people here citing levels of poverty of northern Uganda, blah, blah. I've moved the lengths and breadths of northern Uganda. In the last 20 years, I've been an activist in this country. I know those levels of poverty. We don't need lectures. But even the people of Uganda, northern Uganda, want to have a stake in that company that is not to be shortchanged. Busoga is an example. Where if sugarcane growing could change the fate of people, the people of Busoga should have been the richest, they are the poorest. Therefore, we don't want to import the weaknesses of Busoga into northern Uganda. They've seen enough of war, they've been under everything. We want this well protected. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want also to end with the money that is going to be a little wasted in rehabilitating this railway from Maraba to Kampala at a cost of 184 billion. Right, Honorable Speaker, the company here did not even go in any competitive bidding. The company here, its own credential that it operated in Kenya. The company here that is going to receive this money does not have anything to show. It has capacity and capability. But we are here approving money for this supplementary. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and urge members of Parliament, and I beseech you to approve our minority report.
Thank you, Honorable Mwanga Chivombe. That is the beauty of having opposition. It helps us in the checks and balances. Even what we didn't know, we have known what is happening. Thank you for your report. And I also urge you, government, that whatever has been seen, whatever has been identified, you take it up as a government. And can the minister come up on the issue of, to explain on the legality of the supplementary and give the commitment on attack?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to appreciate the chairperson of the Budget Committee for a very, very, very good maiden report.
Maiden how? He was the one reading them here.
Madam Speaker, supplementary budget.
By the way, it is our maiden supplementary report.
Yes.
And maybe I should also take this opportunity to tell the House that our maiden bill has been assented to.
Madam Speaker, allow me also appreciate Honorable Mwanga Chivombe for always making us alert by his proper analysis in the minority report. I say so because I've worked with him for some time in these assignments, and his minority reports have always enhanced our planning. Thank you so much, Honorable Chivombe. He raises a number of compliance requirements in as far as Public Finance Management Act is concerned, specifically Section 25 on the supplementary budgets. I would like to inform this House, Madam Speaker, that for an item to qualify for supplementary, there are conditions to be fulfilled. One is it must have been unforeseen at the time of budgeting, and condition number 2 is that it must be unavoidable in nature. Madam Speaker, the supplementary schedule number 1 we bring before the House for approval mainly arose as a result of the second wave of COVID, which none of us anticipated at the time of budgeting. Therefore, in this regard, substantial items under the 3% relate to the COVID interventions, which we had to deal with in the month of, actually we started in June after we had passed the budget, and then they cascaded into the month of July.
Procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to, from Ernest, to bring to the attention of my honourable friend and the minister that it's not my intention to impeach your confidence in some meeting on this subject. But I heard very well the directive of the Speaker, and I'm seeking the guidance of the Speaker whether the honourable minister is presenting within our limits of time on the issues that were particular on legality. The minority is very clear on illegality. Part of what you are requesting for is borrowing. Does it have parliamentary approval, both external and internal? There are issues of compliance to the PFMA. Right Honourable Speaker, would the Honourable Minister love to move in that direction and therefore move the House well instead of veering into the objective which this Honourable House duly appreciates, but only questioning the methodology and the compliance with the law, Right Honourable Speaker?
Yes, another procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in inviting the minister to make a response, you were very specific on the issue of commitment of government on ATIAC. Yes. And I want to find out, because the shadow minister was very clear, this money you want to put there, are we increasing our equity? Do we seek to increase our equity? Or it is just normal support? And the Speaker was very clear on that issue, inviting you to make a response on that aspect. And I think it is important for us to be very clear on that aspect. Is it just supporting ATIAC, or do we seek to increase equity in that company so that as a country, we are the majority equity holders?
You see, Honourable Minister, when I gave you to make a rebuttal to the minority report, that was basically meant to reduce our debate in the House. Because we've known what opposition is raising, and we've also known what government is raising, and in most of the issues we are together. You seem to be together, not we. You seem to be together. The issue that they wanted was on the legality of the supplementary budget, which they wanted you to point out, and then the other issue was the commitment, the condition that you're giving ATIAC. Because I've seen from the report, the condition that you're giving is that the governance issues must be solved, and then the equity bit. Are we giving money as a donation, or we are adding on our equity? That's what the House wants you to do, to make that commitment. that you will only disburse this money until these conditions are fulfilled.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the legality element, I wish to state clearly that this supplementary schedule number 1 complies with all the legal requirements as clearly stipulated in the Public Finance Management Act. On Achak,
I don't, and why are you not sure whether it complies? Please get back after the House and sit down with this team and see where have we missed out.
Madam Speaker, I am very sure. And outside the House, we can have an engagement with colleagues to clearly demonstrate to them how this supplementary schedule complies with the law. That one, confidently, I'm very sure about what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, there are 2 points I have met here. The issue is the legality, and the question has not been well answered if we go into legal. That your role is to move money in its excess from your collections to fund unforeseen priorities, okay, that you didn't plan for. And his question was very simple. Where did you get it? So if you have an answer, you can state it. Then secondly, for the issue of ATIAC, I beg to differ a bit. How will he give us a commitment before carrying out an evaluation of the other company? For him to come here and give us a commitment that we are coming up with this equity, and he doesn't do it, will be giving us hot air. Because for him to come up with a commitment...
Information.
That
information.
We want...
Information. Thank you very much, Honorable Sereko, for yielding the floor. I think all of us are trying to move to the center so that we move together. And again, Right Honorable Speaker raised the issue of the Attorney General. He is missing in this House. The issue about equity, colleagues, is about shareholding. They are talking about equity. Some people may not even realize what equity is. It is about shareholding. You cannot change shareholding of a company except when you have a resolution of that company. Yes. You need a board of directors to sit and resolve and file the returns and do what we call reallocation of what? Of shares. How will the minister you are asking do that? How will he do? Because it will entail a board resolution. You get it? And that's when we can now talk about equity or shareholding. So I think, Right Honorable Speaker, if I got you correctly, you are suggesting that if the minister and the minority report group and the chairperson can sit and see how they minimize their differences, then they make it easier for other colleagues, other than trying to tear each other up on the floor of this House.
Thank you for your information, Honorable Katuntu.
When you look at the condition that was given to ATIAC by the committee was on issues of governance. And then later on, the issue of equity would come in. But the condition that has been given for this money to be disbursed is on governance. And the issue of governance is arising out of, I'm told there is a report, out of a report. It still takes you back to what Honorable Katuntu is saying. You must handle the issue of equity. But that cannot be handled. It's not this House to discuss about equity.
Right Honorable Speaker, as I wind up my point, what we implore you to do is that these funds are public funds, and no one stops you from choosing your priorities, but protect the interests of Ugandans. This is what everyone is saying. And how do you protect it? Because we cannot direct you in getting us equity without evaluation of a company. That is beyond us. Matters of governance is where you have representation on the board and continuous reporting. It's part of the commitments that people would like to have. But Right Honorable Speaker as well, in trying to fund, just a second, trying to fund different trade priorities. Whereas for me, I have no objection on this matter, and I can say it clearly. Because we were here funding Chinyara, I was here, we rose on these matters. Funding the export subsidy for sugar to Tanzania, which you presented. You remember, Honorable Bahati? We were here, and it was in this house. But also the issue we would like to ask the Honorable Minister is that, yes, we also remind you of the commitment that you made for our traders in South Sudan. So, you made a commitment for our traders in South Sudan, and we need answers for that. So for me, I have no objection at all. Keep our commitment as a country, but also consider our people that have been trading and have lost their goods. And Right Honorable Speaker, with leave of this Parliament, I would like to present a motion on the matter of compensation of traders who lost their business in South Sudan.
You bring a motion next week, but also I want to implore the House that you've had issues raised by Honorable Chivombi. Some of these issues are administrative in nature. Now, the Honorable Minister, you'd take it up after here to make sure that is implemented to the latter. Let's go ahead with the debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to guide the House on the two aspects. One is in respect of the concept of suppression. Admittedly, it doesn't exist in our laws. However, because what was suppressed is in respect of what Parliament passed under the Appropriation Act, this particular supplementary schedule, though not properly worded, is an amendment of the, in some way. If it was to be properly done, it would have been by way of an amendment of the Appropriation Act to cover those aspects that were suppressed. But coming to the issue of Atiak, the money being proposed to be spent is not to be spent in Atiak as such. It is to be given to Uganda Development Corporation, which holds our shares as a country. So the only condition would be that for you, UDC, to spend this money, we want you to spend it in acquiring more shares. And unless you acquire those more shares in accordance with the provision of the Companies Act, then you do not spend this money. To me, that would be the best way to answer this particular matter.
Information.
And
Thank
that's
you
what
very
I was
much.
saying. This is more of administrative. The money is not going to Atiak. The money is going to UDC, which is our own institution.
Madam Speaker, how I wish to bring this to an end.
Honorable Katuntu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think we need to do things the correct way and the right way. You cannot pass a budget with a condition. You can't. You can't appropriate money with a condition. You don't do that in budgeting. You either appropriate the money for use or you don't. You can't say, I'm giving you this money, but you'll be doing it like this and this. You don't do that. Appropriation of money is for a particular purpose. So there is no way you can appropriate money and give conditions to it. You don't do that.
No, procedure.
Anyway, as Honorable Wilfred said, I don't even know how you're mentioning attacking this thing. Because the money is going to UDC. Huh? I am not going to allow you for seat.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Information to, one, there are two issues here. I'm providing information. There are two issues. One, about the issue of suppression of the budget. There is no need for amendment of the Appropriation Act because the size of the budget remains the same. You only require the amendment of the Appropriation Act if the size of the budget had changed. What has happened actually is this. In case of abstract, if, for example, a budget, a vote had 3 billion allocated within it, what you call suppression is certain budget lines have been rendered idle. For example, travels abroad, travels within the country. And the issues that have cropped up, that money has been relocated within what is called environment. So there's no need for amendment of the Appropriation Act. Then, for the case of ATIAC, this is what happens. If you vote money for the construction of a road,
Members, let's revise the Public Finance Management Act well
Yes.
and speak to it. Let's not mislead the House.
yes,
Members, honorable members, you've heard from this side, you've heard from this side.
within the vote. Yeah.
I have ruled. I have ruled.
Madam Speaker, when we started the House, you said we need to leave here by 6 o'clock. Our safety is very important.
Members, we need to leave here by 5:30. I now put a question. I now put a question that the minority report as presented by Honorable Chivumbi be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no. Members, I am putting a question. I am starting with a majority report. Members, I am putting a question that the majority report as presented by Honorable Chivumbi be adopted. The majority report, I am talking about the majority report, be as presented by Honorable Chivumbi. The minority report, I'm saying. If you don't know. I now put a question that the minority report as presented by Honorable Chivumbi be adopted. And those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no. The noes have it. I now put a question that the majority report. I put a question that the majority report of the committee as presented by the chairman budget committee be adopted by this House, and those in favor say aye, to the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Committee of Supply.
Minister. Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We are going to, as the norm has been, we are going to supply on recurrent expenditure worth 2 trillion 18 billion 942 million 942 billion On the current expenditure, I propose that the total of 2 trillion 18 billion 942 million 898,703 shillings be provided for recurrent expenditure under the supplementary budget 01 of the financial year 2021-2022. I now put a question. Okay.
Technical error. Madam Speaker and colleagues, Madam Chair and colleagues, I beg on that page 36 to make a correction on the table. You cancel on top, it says recurrent Uganda shillings, cancel billions there, cancel BN. And for development, the same, and the same to grand total.
Okay. The correction has been captured. I now put a question that a total sum of 2 trillion 18 billion 942 million 898,703 shillings only be provided for recurrent expenditure under the supplementary budget 01 of financial year 2021-2022. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Development expenditure.
I propose that the total sum of 1 trillion 758 billion 645 million 54,089 shillings only be provided for development expenditure under the supplementary budget 01 of the financial year 2021-2022. I now put a question that a total of 1 trillion 758 billion 645 million 54,089 shillings only be provided for development expenditure under the supplementary schedule 01 of financial year 2021-2022. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I put a question that the grand total of 3 trillion, Chairman, can you listen? I put a question that a grand total of 3 trillion 727 billion 777 billion 587 million 952,792 shillings only be approved as a supplementary expenditure 1 for financial year 2021-2022. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Motion for the resumption of the House.
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of Supply report thereto.
I put a question that the House do resume. Those and the whole committee of the whole House do report there too. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no.
Report of the Committee of Supply.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of Supply has considered supplementary schedule number 1 and passed it as follows. Under recurrent expenditure, 2,018,942,898,703. Under development expenditure, 1,758,645,054,089. Total sum of the supplementary expenditure under Schedule 1 is 3,777,952,792. I beg to report.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole Committee of Supply.
I now put a question.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the Committee of Supply be adopted.
I now put a question that the report on the Committee of Supply be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, no? Aye. The ayes have it.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you and all the colleagues of this House. I would like to thank you for adopting and approving the supplementary as processed by the committee. I want to take my thanks to the strong committee which we have as a budget committee, supported by ex-officials who are chairpersons of our sector committees, who are able to have marathon meetings with entities, including even yesterday when there was a bomb scare. I thank you all, and the struggle continues.
Honorable member, thank you so much for the day. I do adjourn the House to Tuesday at 2.